I had to raise 2 sisters, and I never had a ma or dad. It was very hard growing up, and I always promised myself when I had a son or a daughter that they will literally get everything and every opportunity. So if they come to me and goes, Dad, I want to do this, I'll 100% back it. It doesn't matter what you do in life, you can always turn it around. No matter how many times me and Amin have argued or fell out now, we'll always have that mutual respect. It's loads of money and all, but at the end of the day, a 25-year prison sentence doesn't add up to 2 million or 3 million euro, in my opinion. First night, cold, dark, lonely, middle of the night, you hear people fucking screaming. It's fucked up, like, you know, because you don't know what's happening 4 cells down, you know. A lot of people hate me for no valid reason. Once my son has food in his belly and he's warm, I can give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I end up getting into a total of 6.5 grand debt. A lot of friendships were made inside Forgotten. When my grandfather / father died, I went into a pit, but he was there for me the whole way. Like he backed me. He was just so supportive. You know what I mean? Are definitely the strongest bond out of everything. Me, Rooney, and Waddle, 100%. Lawrence was then he released a contract and was basically absolutely torturing Forgotten. And there were so many people that actually told me that, like, down the line as I was getting deeper and deeper into Forgotten, were warning me, you know. They were like, be careful, you know. And my stupid fucking self didn't listen. And that was at the time Saints was just about to hit plunder. We cleaned up everything. We got rid of everyone inside that was inactive and all, you know. We cleaned out house, full sweep. Saints was a console team, so it wasn't a business, it wasn't an organization. For Saints, we don't do contracts. They're non-existent. We do not do NDAs. There was one thing he always used to say to me, and he was that kind of man. He never say I love you, right? His way of saying I love you to me was, I kind of like you. And I literally think if we ever have a conversation again, when we do one day when I pass on, he'd be like, I kind of like you. And he definitely, he'll be proud of me because the fact of I support my kid, soon to be kids, and my fiance. And that and he was a big family man, so
yeah,
he never judged me for anything I did. Even when I got in trouble in prison, he stood by me. You know, he knew I was always going to be the good guy. You know, I always looked out for other people. He had that sense about me. Like, he knew I always was more. What you just said was crazy, actually, when you said I look after people more than I do myself, because that's what he used to always tell me.
Big man, Jenny, you big baldy bastard. Welcome on.
How's it going? Hold on there till I take off the jacket to look a bit more professional, you know what I mean?
He's got a shirt and everything on. Do you go for a fucking shower, bro?
I did, and I got a polo on for you. Look at little polo. You know,
going for a job interview.
I'm here. So wait there, I'll fix the old cam and all for you there, lad. No problem at all. Now, I'm worried about these questions. I can't lie.
They're not going to be bad. Like, it's just I don't know.
I tell you, I'm gonna be as 100% honest as I can be.
Yeah,
I will.
Exactly.
And if there's a question that, you know, I don't know how to answer, I will answer it. I just don't know how. You know,
if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like, obviously.
No. But this is the first time I've done a proper official podcast. Like, you know, so it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm new to this as well, like, so I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing half the time. I just like, you know, I just ask questions. Hopefully, I get good answers. The last 2 boys were fine. Like, they had they had a good camera, mic, so it was all good. Like, no problems. Mm-hmm. Only problem I had with the last fella is his internet was fucking shit. So I had to cut out like half this stuff and I had to edit all that. So it took like 3 days. It was fucking awful.
Yeah, that's the issue. I've literally closed everything on my computer. Literally, I just have this open so we have no actual errors.
Yeah.
You know, good, so everything should be smooth. Everything should be smooth.
You sound sexy. We're good to go.
Thanks, babe.
Okay. First question I want to ask you is the Twitch ban, because I think a lot of people will probably be wondering, where the fuck do you go? Where's the head of the pickles? Okay, where's the pickle leader? You, where are you gone? What happened?
So, no, I'm not surprised. I got a strike on Twitch, because it's kind of been a long time coming. You see, I try to stay so professional in the org and, you know, online and stuff as much as I possibly can, that I feel like when I'm gaming, I can be myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, more me, like, and, you know, let the rage out that I don't let out on a lot of other stuff. Yeah. And sometimes it just, you know, I say mad shit and stuff. But the ban, I'm not surprised. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm playing copyright music. You know, I'm fucking slagging people daily, messing around with them with the boys and stuff. So it's a bit of crack, but I kind of fucked up because I may have said a few things I shouldn't have. Like asking people, is this word banned, to check,
Black sluts.
to make sure. Yeah. That was supposed to be on the ban list, and it wasn't. So yeah, that kind of got me to strike, but I've learned from it. I can't lie. I've the last few days have been horrible, man. And my plan is to come back Monday, make sure all words are banned before I come back, and be more
Proper.
more behaved. Yeah, more behaved. Still have my rages and stuff. Still have the crack with the chat and all the boys. And but I'll definitely learn my lesson from it, because I feel like Twitch can be a big road for me, and I don't want to ruin it. I definitely don't want to ruin it.
I feel like when you streamed you stream like 12 hours sometimes. You did like a couple of 24-hour streams too since you came back. Like, you can't, like, you're just going to be yourself. Like, you can't put on a persona for that. Like, you can't fake what you're going to do. So, whatever comes out, comes out. The only problem with the ban is, like, you didn't, like, I don't think you understood the rules of Twitch, because, like, since the last time you streamed, I don't know when it was, like, last year sometime, like, they've updated a load of shit, like, with Dr. Disrespect getting banned, like, all these guys getting banned. So, like the copyright stuff, I don't even know. It's not a massive deal, but like I didn't even know personally that like you can get banned if your chat spams a lot of like banned words. I didn't know there was banned words. So
yeah,
like it's not.
Yeah, there definitely has. It's definitely different. I feel like it's very more strict now than it was when I was on console. Because when I was on console, like, Christ, we done crazy shit, like, and I'd never get looked up or down as from Twitch perspective. But I feel now as well, especially now the fact that I've now took over an organization and I'm starting to get known more. I feel like a lot of people are more out to get me, so to speak.
100%.
I definitely feel like there's more threats around. Which is perfectly understandable, because I've had a lot of shit in the past with a lot of work in esports. I've had my ups and downs, but I definitely feel like people are still like, out to get me, make sure I don't succeed. But that just drives me even more. And I love that. Like, I love when people shit talk me and, they're like, fucking, I hate that cunt. I love that, because he's telling his friend and his friend's telling another friend, and my name's just spreading like fucking corona, literally.
As well though, like you will literally get reported. Like, there's gonna be people coming to your stream, report for zero reason. So the one time you give them a reason, it will happen. Like, there's no two ways about it. Perfect example of like someone who really just like a Boys with the Rules, a really nice stream is the Gara Show. Just squeaky clean, like completely just family friendly most of the time.
Yeah,
really fucking good. Like, represents himself on all social media. Is really fucking like that. I don't think like that's for everyone. Like, I was saying this the other day on stream, like, if you're family friendly or if you're naturally inclined to be like more entertained towards like a younger audience, that's you. But if you're not, if you don't have that in you, if that's not your nature, it's very hard to do. I feel like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, that's definitely, I have nothing but respect for Chris, the way he can do that, because I can imagine, like, there's when kids come into his chat and talk shit and all, he takes it as such a professionalism. And I sit there and I'm like amazed. I'm like, oh, if this was me, I'd be fucking ripping it, and but he's definitely that's why I think Chris is so successful in the Irish scene. And what makes him stand out is because he is family friendly. So, like, at the end of the day, if my young lad said to me, my young lad's 8, and if he said to me I wanted to watch the Gara Show, I'd happily let him, because I know the way Chris portrays himself, So that's definitely a bonus for him. As in regards to myself, I'm more old school. I grew up in a whole different era, things have changed a lot, when I was 11 and 12, man, I'm out in the street fucking chopping down fucking trees with a fucking another stick, it just kid shit. But nowadays you see walking around iPhones, and it's a totally different world, so, and we were taught totally different back then. There was never a big thing when it came down to like anything to do with like people's sexuality. Race wasn't such a big factor then, but I'm glad it is being resulted now, don't get me wrong. But like back then to now, the world is changing so fast, and it's a good thing. It's just the older guys definitely had to learn to adapt to the new generation, because when I first started, man, I heard like kids using words and I'm like, what the hell is YOLO? And poggers, and I'm sitting there, man, scratching my head. And I'm nearly about to get the dictionary out just to find out what these words actually meant, you know. But they weren't in the dictionary, so you had to go to. I literally had to go to my son half the time, be like, "What's this word mean?" And he'd tell me, you know. And it's crazy because of his age, but just being online with kids his age, like or lads just a little older, they have all this new adaptation. But it was the same. Like I say words, and the boys are like, "What are you on about?" Like my favorite term is "you pelican." You know, I call everyone a pelican, and everyone thinks it's a bad thing, but it's not. It's just something I've had for years. So you know, you bleeding pelican. You know what I mean? It's just like gobshite. You know, so. But it's really good. Like it's mad. It definitely is. It's a new world. It 100% is.
Twitch definitely has like a massive influence on like all the kids these days as well. And like I feel like, just to bring it back to the garage a little bit, like when people see, and this is like the number one thing that I admire about Chris and the way he represents himself, is the lesson he set for the younger generation, because a lot of people watch him and they learn stuff in his community as well because of how like, you know, well behaved they are and like how professional they are. Like his mods are fucking top class. So like all little kids come in, they're like, yo, like they might say something stupid. Chris will be like, well, you know, buddy, like that's not how you say, you know. And then he'll learn how to, like, they'll learn from that, which I love that.
100%.
Does your
100%.
your little lad's 8, I think you said 8 years of age?
8 years of age.
Do you reckon he learns a lot of stuff from YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff? Like,
yeah, so 100%. YouTube's a big thing for him, more than Twitch. Like, see, the thing is like he understands the Twitch. Basically, see, he does want to be a streamer. He keeps going on about he wants me to buy him this and that, and you know, we bought him the PC parts and the actual case and all. I just need a few more bits. We're going to set him up on that, and he's going to do his own YouTube and stuff. That's what he wants to do.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it's the things. The reason, main source behind it is because I never had a chance like that growing up. A lot of people like will want to know me more personally and the way why I probably am the way I am and why I'm such a like I'm very hardcore and tough, like as in I could take a lot of shit. Like when I grew up, I had to raise 2 sisters and I never had a ma or dad at the time. So it was very hard growing up, especially around that time. Like it was tough times and I was never given anything. You know, I literally had to grind my ass off for everything, you know, and so you were never really handed things. And I always promised myself when I had a son or a daughter that they will literally get everything and every opportunity. So if they come to me and goes, Dad, I want to do this, Dad, my dream is this, I'll 100% back it, because I believe 100% in ambition and passion for something and drive. And that's why I love working with all these younger lads in the org and stuff. I love seeing that drive and the will to want to succeed, you know. And I think that's why I'm very good in the position I'm in, because I know and I understand. But yeah, that's basically the lowdown of that situation there. Now,
you want to go into that a bit more, like about your childhood and stuff and like growing up, or no?
Yeah, well, like it's definitely, it's a long road, you know.
I don't think a lot of people know that about you though. Like they obviously get like a good first impression, like an impression that you're like this, you know, like an older man from Ireland. You have like a bit more. Like you've learned a lot, right? I feel like when people first watch your stream, they're like, okay, this guy has learned a lot, he's been through some shit. Do you want to like talk about that a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, so it basically, it all started, like I was born and raised in Arklow. It's a town in County Wicklow in Ireland, and it was definitely tough growing up there. Around that time, it was really bad. The economy area of it, like, you know, jobs were bad, drugs were at its highest level, crime was rising. You know, for a town, like it was I think it was rated top 3 or top 5 worst towns in Ireland back like about 10 years ago. And that would have been at basically the prime time where I was, you know, I was just coming out of my late teens into my 20s, and I was still up for development because I hadn't got a girlfriend, I hadn't got this son at that time. So I was still like, you know, I was doing dumb shit. I grew up and I used to hang around with lads who were a lot older than me. So when I was like 10, 11, I was hanging around with guys who were like 16, 17. And I'd done a lot of dumb shit back then as well, just to get by as of the situation, as I said. And I basically would have done anything just to make sure my 2 sisters were looked after, you know, in that situation. But that's basically where the influence came along to why I got myself into so much trouble. And as a lot of people already know, because it was spread out on Twitter when I first started kind of coming onto the scene about me going to prison and shit. But that was based off all just like where I was growing, where I was and who I was raised with, and, you know, the influences around me at that time. And, you know, the big guys would get you to do this, that, and you'd fall into a pit. but you do it because you're the younger guy and you want to look cool in front of the bigger guys. You want to be respected. You see
Yeah.
these and what they have. They've got nice clothes, lovely jewelry. They've got cars. And they portray themselves to be something more than they are. But you're young and dumb at the time, so you believe, oh yeah, that I want that, but it's not what you want. Because you don't know what the actual opposite side to it is.
Yeah.
So you get yourself involved in dumb shit, and it is what it is. But I did have a lot of good friends around me as well. So basically in the long run, sorry, I'm mixing my words because
You're fine, bro.
it's a kind of a shitty subject. But I look back and I don't listen. At the end of the day, I've done stupid shit, but I don't regret any of it, because if I did, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
I always believe that in life you take down a certain path, you do things for a certain reason to get where you are today. So the fact of where I was and what I had to where I am now is amazing. And it just shows it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you do in life. You can always turn it around. It does, and the only way you won't turn around is if you let other people tell you can't do something. I was always told I'd never amount to nothing. I'd never do this. I'd never do that. But I'm sitting here at 30 in my own house. I have a lovely fucking family, another baby on the way, and I feel so secured and loved, and that's all that matters. And I feel like everyone needs to realize that at some point in life, you will make errors, you will make mistakes, but you can always come back from it. No matter what it is, you can always bounce back.
Yeah.
100%.
That's fucking that's amazing. Like that, I feel like that's the base of why people respect you so much in the community, because they know exactly, like, you've been through some stuff. It's like unsaid in the community, I feel like, about you. It's just you, like, you've been through stuff. You, Nameen, like, just these hard, like, kind of guys who've been through that, had a lot of experiences before, and that's why I feel like everyone respects you, like, a lot.
That's definitely I think why, more so, no matter how many times me and Nameen have argued or fell out now, we'll always have that mutual respect, because regardless of all, like, the younger generation and the shit talk and stuff, we have been through a totally different path. We've lived it out, we've done it. We're literally I'll be a granddad in fucking 10 years. I gotta look at these pictures. So, but that's why I didn't want no shit with 15 Kings anymore, and I wanted to end it, and I wanted to settle the differences and have a good relationship with him. Because, like, at the end of the day, he was one of the first people that I kind of got to know in the actual esports industry, as in a management owning situation.
Yeah.
So I learned stuff from him. I did 100%. And he taught me wrong from right, to be honest. He did. He calmed me down a lot. I was a lot worse, when I first started, like, streaming or just coming onto Twitter. I used to do so much shit talk, and I used to beef with people. It was just so dumb. But as I said, you learn from everything you do. And back then, I done a lot of shit. I've already, like, I think it was like a year ago, I apologized to absolutely everyone for all the crap. I mended a lot of relationships online. And yeah, everything seems like I don't really have any issues with anyone anymore. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know that people have issues with me, and that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, I don't lose sleep at night over it. If they do, well, then, that's their own business. But
do you think
no,
growing
definitely.
do you think growing up without social media, and then as you got older getting into the social media age, was hard for you to, like, kind of, like, I say, like, media train, but you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, it definitely was hard to adjust to, because of the simple fact that, like, the fact that we didn't have it, but the younger generation is basically born into it. So it was a lot harder for us, because we didn't know what you could say and what you couldn't. We didn't know that people would get, as we call them, snowflakes, get offended so easily by the smallest thing. Like, it's crazy. Like, the smallest thing now, like, that's what I mean. I swear, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I nearly have to have a sketchbook in front of me with my night's conversations on it, so I don't say something I shouldn't. That, and I don't want to be like that. And I think that's why I get myself into kind of bad situation, trouble, or clipped, or whatever it is, because I am who I am, and I say what I feel, and I say what I think. I don't hold back. I'm very opinionated, and I feel like that's what's needed. You have to have someone who's opinionated, because if we all just sit back and no one has an opinion, it's we're going around in fucking circles. It's like in a car in a roundabout. You're not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And eventually we run out of gas and we're stuck. So That's the way I look at that.
I've learned a lot from
100%.
you though as well since I started working with you with Saints. Like since since January, kind of we've started like first like
Yeah.
talking a lot. I've learned a lot from you. Like I was getting offended very easily over shit. Like on the internet, I would like if someone said something to me, and that still happens a lot as well. Like even with Lags when he says something to me or Barney, I sometimes take it the wrong way. But since I started talking to you, I feel like a lot more stuff. I'm just like, okay, they can say what they want. I don't really care, and try not to be a snowflake is very, very hard. Because I obviously like grew up with the internet. Like I think I was like
Yeah.
one of the first like couple of like the generation where the internet first started impacting like our childhood a lot more. And that's been it's been massive to have you like, and I say this as well for like a lot of people like Rooney and Studs and all these guys looking up to you because you know you've been through so much, and I fucking love that, and I respect everything that you do. I just wanted to ask you a question about what it was like growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s. Yeah,
It was it was definitely a different time. It was a really good time. I can't lie. Without internet was probably the prime of my life, and I know that's probably hard for a lot of people to think like, oh my god, no internet, no Facebook, no Twitter, like but you appreciated life so much more, man, and it was just awesome. That's like just it's literally all I can say. It was fucking awesome going out with your mates, kicking ball, playing chase, chasing the girls, kiss chase and shit. Like it was just epic, bro. Like, and friendships were so good back then. Like, and if you wanted to see your friends, you actually had to go and knock on their door.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, you coming out, and and you do sleepovers with your mates. And it was just such a good time. And it was so easy back then because it wasn't as bad as it is now. Like nowadays, man, the stuff that goes on is insane. Like kids can't even walk to the shop, and poor kids are being stabbed and shit. It's like, what? Like that was never a thing back then. You know what I mean? Crime was a thing, but it was never like to the extent that you're seeing nowadays.
People
And
think
I
it was worse,
like
don't they? People think that back then it was like way worse than what it is
it
now.
was definitely
It's
no, it
so
definitely
much
wasn't.
worse now with social media.
So much worse, and it's scary because back then as well is that if we had issues with, if we had fights or we didn't like someone, you'd meet that person for a straightener, one-on-one, and you'd fight out. Winner gets up, shakes the man's hand, walks away, problem solved. But that's not it nowadays, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like a guy gets into a fight, he goes home and he fucking, he ends up coming back out and stabbing someone and all. It's like, what? That's not how we used to do things back then. We used to go out when we were young, 14, 15. We used to go down the riverbank in Arklow, basically like down by the river. We'd have a rake of cans. We used to have the old Walkman, and we had these little old speaker things. It was like a beatbox. You had to use batteries in the things. We used to buy packs of batteries to make sure the thing was going for the whole day. And used to have music playing. Everyone was there. Everyone was having laughs. And if there was an argument, they'd fight it out right there and then. They'd fight it out. They get back up, shaking each other's hand, covering blood, and drink more cans. And that was the way it should have been. And that way, it was the best way about it. And we loved that. We absolutely loved that. And it was just so much crack, man. Like, honestly, I'm definitely happy. Now I am 30 and a grey is starting to come to the beard now, but I'm definitely happy I was born in that era because I feel like it's even if it was shit and it was tough times, I'll always remember it. It'll always be a happy part of my life.
Yeah.
Just having the basis of it. But yeah, no, it definitely was different because nowadays as well, like back then, like when I was really young, my granddad who just passed last year, God rest him, he used to bring me down to the pub every Saturday and Sunday. And I used to be in behind the bar and they'd teach me how to pull pints and all that. I think that's how I ended up becoming a barman for a few years when I got older. But I was in there pulling pints and they sit me down and I'd be with all the old lads and they'd be talking about, all the horse racing and the Gaelic matches. And it was just so good. And I'd be sitting there with me Lucasade and me Pacateto, loving life with all the older lads, And I think that's as well, like, 'cause I was brought up around like proper gentlemen, like old school lads who weren't fucked with, basically, like these boys could go anywhere into town for a pint and they were respected 100%.
Yeah.
It's just that respect factor. And as I grew up, like I'd always be looked at and I'd be like, oh, there's Drew's fucking grandson, he used to be in Knicks with us. I remember you and all, and I love that. I love the home feel, especially of Arklow. Like, it'll always have a place in my heart, regardless. Like I love the town so much. But the main reason I moved is basically because it's not the great for like schooling system and stuff. And, you know, I wanted the best for the young lad.
Yeah.
So that's why we moved basically to the best location I could to get him a good education, to give him a good life, less crime, less fucking bullshit, basically. But yeah, no, man, 90s definitely ahead of all of it, 100%.
I had like 6 or 7 years of like what you were saying, like with the lads, you know, knocking each other's doors, going and play some footy in the local like
Yeah.
park or whatever, like the terrace and stuff. I had like 4 or 5 years of that, and I literally I miss it so much. Like just looking back
Yeah.
at that time with the primary school lads, and oh my god,
It brings out the actual representation of what it's like to be a kid. Do you know what I mean, man? What it's like to be young, what it's like to just live, no worries, just stress free. But I feel nowadays there's more added pressure to our younger generation. I feel like parents are too hard on a lot of the kids. I really do. Like I with the schooling and with just clamping down on them, and you know, and I do understand it in some way because social media is very dangerous as well as its benefits. It is, you know, and they can get caught up in some dumb shit on the internet, you know, really quick, like you see, and they can spend money very easily on the internet. So there is a lot of downfall to it, but I definitely think like this is just advice from myself as a parent. I think parents need to realize that it's a different era. It's a different era. So like kind of lay off your kids a small bit because it's tough times, and always to check up on them because I feel like the internet and the social engagement they have on Twitter, Facebook, and the rest of them, just be more wary and cautious because there is a lot of kids out there who get a lot of shit and hate for minimal reasons.
yeah.
And I feel like it's definitely something we need to keep an eye on.
Just going back to what you were saying there about like your childhood and like how you growing up, there's actually like a guy in Limerick. This is like 9 or 10 years ago, probably. It's like they started like 2010s, and what would happen was like these guys. I'm gonna call them mafia bosses, but you know what I mean. Like these guys who like they like drug lords kind of thing, right? And what they do is they would go to like little like primary schools or secondary schools, and they would like I don't know like how to like they would manipulate kids to like do
recruit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so basically they're called we used to call them back in the day, they were called guineas, and they're basically little recruitments that will take the fall for the bigger guys. So they basically would run the product, they get the cash, they drop the cash back, and there's never any connection. So that's always going to be in the drug scene regardless, you know. And it's just down to you guys, the younger generation, to turn around and say no, you know, don't get involved in it, whatever you do. Don't get involved in that shit because, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it's loads of money and all, but at the end of the day, a 25-year prison sentence doesn't add up to 2 million or 3 million euro, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was a guy in Limerick though who he basically was said like, so his mother and father owed money to these drug guys because to pay rent or whatever in Limerick, it's not easy in Limerick City. I can tell you.
Yeah.
And what would happen was these mafia bosses, they go to the fucking kids and they'd be like, your mother and father owe us money, you do this, and their debt is wiped clean. And what would happen then is they'd let the kid, the young fella, go and do this, like they carry drugs or whatever to some other part of the town, and then the same lads who said to go and do this errand will then get another group of lads to attack that young fella, and then he's after losing the drugs, he thinks the drugs are gone, he's after losing a load of money, and then he's in 2 times debt. So that's so they get him in then for like life.
Yeah, that's basically that's roping in, and it definitely is. It's a serious game. Now I wouldn't know a lot about it because like back in my day, as we say, the best we'd be moving is a bit of weed or a bit of hash, you know, and that was about it. Like you wouldn't. It's definitely totally different now on the drug scene. Like cocaine is rising high levels, and like you can see that like literally even just myself working behind a bar or going out on the weekend or whatever when the pubs and the nightclubs are open, like I swear to God, like nearly every second person has cocaine. Nearly every second person has cocaine, and it's not even cocaine, to be honest. It's literally fucking sugar powder and a load of fucking crap in it. I swear to God, like it is. It's because all this shit you hear and they're like, oh, it's pure cocaine. Not bullshit. It's 100% bullshit. You know, you're definitely not getting pure cocaine in Ireland. It's a proven fact. It's chopped down 1 to 5 at least when it comes into Ireland. You know, unless you're going to Colombia and fucking going to the cocoa farm, to fucking Pablo and getting it yourself, you ain't getting pure cocaine.
We
Simple.
cousin Pablo
So
Escobar.
yeah, straight up. Like, but no, as I said, the most we dabbled in was hash and weed. And basically I don't understand how that shit isn't even legalized yet, because weed is fucking, it's curing more than anything. And I think that's the worry for the medical departments and stuff, especially the health boards. I feel like the industry in itself, the pharmaceutical industry itself, will lose so much money if they actually study weed to the fullest,
Yeah.
because there's definitely something there. Because we've seen it. CBD oils does a lot, and I definitely think if they add a bit more experiment into it and look further in, there's a cure for cancer somewhere. And I think that's what they're worried about. And I feel like they don't want the cure for cancer, and that's what breaks my heart, because they lose too much money. The pharmaceutical business would lose out on billions if they did. And it's disgusting, really. But like, as I've said, there's so many corrupt people in the world, which I do speak my mind. There's a lot of corrupt government members who don't want overpopulation. So they want people to die. As fucked up as it is, they want people to die. And that's scary to think about, because everyone probably that's going to watch this and watching now will literally know someone or someone very close to them that's lost someone to cancer. That's a proven fact. It's the one disease that is definitely needed to be solved. Like, because at the end of the day, how long are we going to go on? They find a magical cure for corona in what, 6 months?
Yeah.
It's us.
I think
That's
as
all I'll
well
say.
I think cigarettes would be worse for your body, and because like what's the cigarettes, tar and all this shit. Like I think weed would be way better for you than
100%.
cigarettes, and I think the cigarette companies well are a contributing factor to the reason why weed isn't legalized and why it's not going to be, because obviously, Jesus Christ, they're probably like two different companies, right? Or maybe probably, so like it's all competition.
It's definitely, there's definitely links, I feel, between any sort of, like, I find that amazing, that in Ireland, you back when I think it was the second lockdown happened, or the first, you couldn't go into a store and buy baby clothes, but you could go into the store and buy fucking a liter of vodka. You could buy alcohol, but you couldn't buy baby clothes or baby nappies and all at the time when they locked off the sections. And I'm sitting there thinking, hold on. So you're going to sell alcohol, but if a baby needs clothes, you're not going to give it to them. That's that there for me said enough. And Ireland as a whole, like, I'm not going to lie, Ireland as a whole, I feel is fucking plundering fast. I feel like it's definitely not going anywhere. I feel like job employment is not going to bounce back for at least 6 to 7 years. And I feel like the younger generation are going to have a tough time if they stay in Ireland. If it was me and I was your age, my idea would be to get out. And that's being honest. Move abroad, because I just can't see Ireland bouncing back. And that's my worry down the line as well, for my young lad. But at the end of the day, if it comes down to it, as I said, like, we obviously have a fund for him, so he'll be okay for a certain. But I will, when he gets to a certain age, I'll be saying, listen, son, here's my best advice for you. And I will tell him, Canada, Australia, get out, go, live a good life, because I can't see it happen in Ireland in the next 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I think actually now, like this year and possibly next year, next couple of years, will be the worst for unemployment since like the 70s and the 80s, because I think the multinational corporations came in during the Celtic Tiger and all this stuff. Like I think Ireland is technically one of the richest countries in the world because of Apple and stuff like that. And like, oh man, it just, like the unemployment and stuff, it's going to be so bad for the next like 4 or 5 years. I'm actually like kind of fortunate. I like, a lot of my stuff is online, but I would not like to be someone who's doing their own business or trying to start their own business organization in Ireland, especially with all these multinational corporations coming in and just like draining the natural Irish businesses and stuff. Like, it's just it's fucking horrible.
Well, that's it. Like, there's been so many people in Ireland, like, that have owned like pubs, hair salons, and all that have literally had to shut down, like, completely shut their doors, sell their product, just to get rid of whatever equipment they have just to survive. And the fact that I find amazing that someone that owns their own business and is literally lost everything, lost thousands a week, is literally being offered €350 by the government per week.
Yeah. That's what my
to
father's at
live.
the moment. Like, he works in
Like,
retail, just so bad.
and I don't understand as well is that if the government actually knew what they were doing, in my opinion, they don't. But if they knew what they were doing, if you're shutting the doors on all these businesses and you're putting so many people out of work, why are you raising rent prices? Why are you raising taxes on, sugar taxes and all this other stuff? Why are you doing that? Are you literally trying to make the whole country homeless? That's the question. That's the one question I always wondered. What is their actual game plan?
They're trying to like modernize the country so it represents the rest of Europe. Because Ireland, like, listen, we can all say this: Ireland licks the fucking dick of the European like Union. All these fucking guys in Europe, they just want to like, they basically just want Ireland to be another just like city in
What
Europe.
I seen an article now a while back, probably actually about 7, 8 months back, and I read an article on Ireland and Germany and the business they have between each other, and the £3 billion that Ireland borrowed from Germany to build roads in Ireland.
Yeah.
Now, I find that quite funny because where's all the money going that Ireland already has from multiple different fucking organization businesses? It amazes me. Why are we borrowing 3 billion? Where's all the money going? And then a little part at the bottom tells me that there's guys in the government who literally get paid, I think it's £12,000 per year for fuel to drive 2 kilometers a day.
Yeah.
2 kilometers. I'm sorry, but like, unless you have a 50 fucking liter fucking Mustang, fucking, engines coming out of the arse of her, get out of here with your 12 grand. Because I can guarantee one thing: I have a 1.6 liter car outside, and £25 worth of diesel does that fucking thing for the week.
Yeah.
So it amazes me. I don't put 12 grand into my fucking car every year on fucking diesel, let me tell you. So, and I'm driving we drive a fair bit around, like, what I mean?
Yeah.
We drive a fair bit because obviously a lot of people already know I'm in Wexford. A lot of people think I'm in Gorey, but I'm not. I'm on the countryside of it, basically. So I still have to drive into the town,
Yeah.
and it's still a good little a good 10, 12 kilometers every day, if we have to go in for, like, because there's no, like, out where I am, there's no Tesco's, no Lidl's, there's no fucking deals, there's no fucking, so we have to drive in. And that's why I'm just amazed at the numbers I was looking at. Fascinating, really fascinating.
But even guys who have worked in the Dáil, and if they leave, they're still in 100,000 a year, even if they're not working. There's a senator here from, well, I'm not going to name names, but there was a senator here. He went off his fucking rocker a little bit when he wasn't elected in, like, afterwards. But I think he's probably still like getting money from the government. Like, it's unfucking believable. And the amount of corruption as well that goes on with that, like, oh, it makes me fucking sick that I'm living in a country like that. It's just mad.
It is crazy.
What was it? Can I bring it back to what was it like in prison? And how did that all happen? If you want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. So I basically ended up, like, so when you're growing up back then, you kind of got what we call strikes. So basically, like, you get a tap on the hand, first offense, then you get fines, and then you ended up getting community service, and then obviously then it's on to suspended sentences and imprisonment. I wasn't in for long, but basically I just accumulated a lot of dumb shit, being caught with weed, getting into fights, driving fucking cars with no insurance, no tax, rallying, basically, rallying cars. The last thing then obviously was a fight situation that happened on a night out, and that got me, like, he wasn't critically fucking harmed or anything, but it may have went a little bit further than it should have, and it was basically it goes down as intentional bodily harm and shit like that, trying to physically hurt someone. But at the same time, if they're trying to physically hurt you and you self-defend yourself, you're obviously going to swing back. You're not going to stand there and let someone just bait the head off you, So
I feel like as well when you're on like the guard's radar, if you just do something, like, and it's the same with school really, like if you just do one little more thing, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll just throw you in. We have you now for that.
But that was the bonus for me. Was that after I went in, came back out, I got out a lot earlier than I should have because of a fuck up in their system. They put me down. They had the wrong name, which is a big thing. They put me down as my stepfather's name and not my real father. So they fucked up. because that wasn't what was legally known as on a birth cert. And
Yeah.
they can't actually hold me for that. So the whole thing gets thrown out. So basically my whole criminal record was wiped and I got a fresh start. And that was the turning point for me in life.
How
I
long were you in
realized
prison
then,
for, Jen?
and the first time I went in was I only was in there for about 6 to 8 weeks. And the second time I was supposed to do 6 months. I was going to be doing 6 months and I got out after 2 weeks because of the fuck up,
Yeah.
because of
What
the error.
What was it like in prison? Because I think it was
Horrible.
yeah, I was in there three. Well, I wasn't in fucking prison, but I was in there 3 years ago. We're doing like a CSP thing inside Limerick prison. We had to go in and just like talk to people. The guys in there, bro, like especially in Limerick,
It's,
and I'm being serious, especially in
yeah,
Limerick, there is guys in there that you were like, and they love it. Like some of them are like their fourth, fifth time, and they go out and they come back in, and they're constantly in and out. Like
yeah,
the guys you meet inside in prison, and we only went in there for a visit, and they kind of like showed us their best guy, like as in like,
yeah.
like when you go to secondary schools and they're like, okay, you're just taking a tour of the secondary school, they're trying to groom you to get in and all this stuff.
The well-behaved prisoner. Yeah,
Yeah, the well-behaved prisoner
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
stabs some guy in Tipperary. I'm not even joking.
yeah.
Um,
It's definitely, yeah, no, it's, if anyone says to you that, oh, I went in, it was easy, no bother, no, they're lying straight point blank to your face. Because I can tell you one thing, your first night in there, you wet yourself, and that's straight up. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen. You are literally trapped, and that's it. There's no way out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's just a horrible feeling. It's lonely. It's depressing. You know, that was probably the point in life where I was at my bottom, my tier end, and it's the most scariest thing. Like, it is. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I flew through it. No, I didn't. 100% no. I literally, I hated every second, and it's scary. It is. Um, there's no way to just like, it's kind of like hard to put into words, because you gotta feel it. Do you get what I mean?
yeah,
You gotta feel that fear. You gotta feel that anxiety. Um, you can't really explain it to someone. Like the people that have been in there. Like there's a lot of people that have been in, and they are able to deal with it. That's just, they're born into it. But for someone like myself that shouldn't have been there, no, it's definitely not nice.
What was
100%.
your first night like? What did you hear? What was like the atmosphere like when you went in for the first night?
First night, cold, dark, lonely. Middle of the night, you hear people fucking screaming, fucking, it's fucked up. Like, because you don't know what's happening 4 cells down.
Yeah,
Um, it's just one of them things I can't really even explain. It's, and you kind of try and push it out, but you can't. You'll always remember the fear and anxiety of that night. But the first night, yeah, no, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I think my stomach. I must have had about 50 shits that night. My stomach was just in bits, like a washing machine. Like, couldn't eat. It's and so many thoughts are run through your head. You know what I mean? And you're just overwhelmed. Like, it's definitely. I understand why some people. Now, don't take this out of context, anyone.
no,
But I do understand why some people, when they go and they get sent to prison for a long term, they do end up committing suicide. I do understand that, because some people, like myself, I was strong enough to get through it. I didn't think I would have. I was
yeah.
strong enough to get by it. But some people haven't got that, and that's definitely, it's understandable now when I look back and think why so many people commit suicide in prison, because it's a feeling that no one should feel.
What were the police officers like, the Gardaí? What were they like inside? Because I feel like a lot of people who go to prison, one of their main biggest problems is like how they're treated by the guards, and how they're like demoralized, and like you're down
I
here, they're up here, kind of thing.
I actually I actually can't lie. The two prison wardens that I was dealing with were very nice to me. Very nice to me, because they knew what I was in for. They knew I shouldn't have been in there. Being honest, they tell you straight if they feel like you should be in there, you shouldn't. They'll judge you off basically who you are and what you've done. You know, and I was very young. You know what I mean? I was only late teens, just about to hit 20s. You know, so they treated me very well. I can't lie. They made sure I was okay. They knew I didn't want to. They knew I didn't want to be there. They knew I wasn't a criminal. You know what I mean? You know, you can tell the difference between someone that has done shit and wants to be there and someone that hasn't. You know, you can see it when you look at another person. You know, he wants to be in here or he doesn't. You know, and like I didn't portray myself as anything. I didn't try to be a badass to like, you know, make sure I didn't get fucking hopped off or stabbed or whatever. I just was myself, you know, and luckily enough, like the second time now I went in was it wasn't going to be too bad if I was in there for the 6 months because I'd already learned and experienced it. But also that my two cousins were locked up in the same prison. So it would have been a lot more relieving on me, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I would have had someone in there, if you get what I mean. But obviously I didn't have to do it because of the fuck up. And basically at the end, it was brought back to court after the fuck up with my name and stuff. And I was actually found not guilty by another judge. It actually was self-defense. So I'm glad that happened because otherwise I would have been in there for 6 months for something that I shouldn't have been in there for. You know, it was always self-defense. It was just obviously people on his side of it lied on the stand, which is actually they should be locked up for. But they basically lied on the stand. And it looked bad on me at the time.
I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't like stereotype all police officers and stuff because not all of them are bad. It's the same with teachers and stuff in school. Like not all of them are bad. Like there's always going to be the few sound ones that will try and look out for your best interest. But I do hear a lot of stuff that people like. There is police officers who will like make you not want to even be alive inside some of these prisons in Ireland, especially.
Yeah. No. It definitely it is. It kind of depends on the person you're dealing with, but it's also based on who you are. You know, if you're a dick, you're gonna get treated like a dick. But if you're nice, it returns. You know, so for me, like I never would have given them any hardship or you know was never going to be any trouble. So and they knew that. They knew that by looking at me. Like I was only a fucking young lad then. Like you know, and I looked harmless. I'm from the countryside, you know, like you know, it was always going to go down like that, you know. But they see the thing is they know exactly what you've done before you even get there. Do you get what I mean? Once your sentence goes down, it gets sent to the prison. So the prison know exactly who you are, what you've done in the past. Are you dangerous? Are you not dangerous? You know, all that stuff comes into play. But as I said, like I only done little short terms, so I can't give the full experience.
Yeah,
like I can't express of what other people could. You know, doing short terms is basically a day in the park to the boys that actually do the real shit. You know, and I can't lie. A lot of them in there obviously for bad stuff, but I got to give full credit. I don't know how the fuck you can actually just do 25, 30 years in prison. I don't get it. I don't know how they make it through it. I can't figure it out for the life of me.
Do you? This is probably going to be extremely fucking hard for people listening at home, but so there's obviously the main, I think, in my opinion, the people who should be in prison are the guys who rape, murder, pedophiles, these guys. If you're getting sent in for drugs, like, it's not, obviously it's their fault, but it's not their fault, like, you know?
Before you finish, I fully agree. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, right? That someone can get 7 to 10 years for moving drugs and a pedophile gets 3 years.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that make any sense? The justice system in Ireland is so backwards. It's insane. It's fucking nuts. Like it makes no sense. You know, like manslaughter is 7 years in Ireland. 7 years. And there's boys that have moved cocaine worth a value of 500,000 and they get 8 to 10 years. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So you can take a life and get less time than moving a powder. It's so fucking backwards.
I think that's due to money as well, like a little bit, because I feel like they definitely value money more than an actual person's life. Yeah,
they do
exactly.
Money is the fucking devil in everything, and this is what kind of like infuriates me inside esports as well, is that these kids have so much potential and they can learn so much and be given so much of a guidance from older lads, but it's always just what's money, you know, what's the price, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, should these Fortnite kids be paid? Yes, 100%, because they're doing it on the big stage and they're promoting your brand. But I just find some of it absolutely flabbergasting. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, how do you price yourself more than my friend pays for a month's fucking rent? You know, it's become like, in my opinion, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, if Fortnite ever does die, which I don't think it fucking will, I
No.
really don't. As long as they keep following the money, I don't think it'll ever die. But like some of these guys need to, because they need to reevaluate and think, what else can I get more than the money aspect? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot more that you can get offered in life than just money. You know what I mean? And think a lot more of these things are more valuable than money. It may be hard to believe, but it's true.
Yeah, because we were like, you deal mainly with like all the Fortnite guys and paying their wages, because you obviously are the main person behind Saints. We'll get into that a little bit later, but like, even when I'm dealing with some of these guys, like some of the editors, they come in, they're like, well, so you'll get them in, and we had one recently, didn't do any work for a week. You'll get them in, and they're like, so when do I get paid? I'm like, bro, come on. You've 100
Yeah.
followers on Twitter. Your work is below average. You're not getting money, and then they won't work. And I don't think I've told you that, but that was the reason why he didn't work. But even with, and I won't name names, but there was a guy that you offered a very good wage to like the end of last month, end of February, and he's like, no. I'm like,
Yeah.
you like, there is fucking guys offshore earning that amount of money. Like, are you? Oh, it drives me fucking mental.
It's crazy, because especially at like 14, 15, if you're offered, 4-figure sums for a year's work, or a year's gaming, not even work, a year's gaming, and you're offered a 4-figure sum, and you say no. I bro, I used to labor 12 hours a day lifting fucking slabs and fucking buckets of concrete that I swear, I go home, I felt my arms were like jelly. And I used to do that for like, back then, I think it was like 32 pounds a day. 32 pounds a day of just, and that's 12 hours of pure fucking manual labor. Like, I mean, and the next day you're so sore that you could barely lift your fucking self out of bed, And I just find it crazy, that to do what you're already doing, something you already love, and something you're already, 90% of these kids are already gaining money from, because of the game, feeding it the money.
Yeah.
That it's basically like free cash. It's like basically like fucking waking up every fucking week, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, free money,
And a lot of them are in school as well. Like, it's like a part-time job. It's just,
yeah.
fuck me.
Like, that's the thing. Like, what I'm doing is, obviously, I'm down to pay players. That's the thing. And a lot of people ask me about budgets and so on and so forth, which we'll get to later on, obviously. But it's just fascinating that if I offer a certain amount, they come back with a higher offer. Like,
trying to con
it,
you, like,
and yeah, it kind of, in a way, like, but the thing is, like, these guys don't understand is that I don't just go to these players and say, and from my perspective, I get like so many different people to check them out, so many people's opinions, before I even go near them. I watch them without them even knowing. So a lot goes into it. Like, a lot of people, all the people that would know me know I literally don't fucking sleep. I work so much. Even when I'm in bed, man, I'm on Twitch, scanning, scouting, looking for the next guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that,
You're definitely
But,
one of the
that's what it
hardest
is.
workers, like, well, obviously insane at the moment, but like, you're definitely one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with, on the content side. And like, you put in 24-hour streams sometimes, and you're still doing stuff with Saints in the background, on stream, off stream. You're eating your dinner there, like last week on stream. Like, you don't keep anything off camera,
Yeah.
and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
The next question I wanted to ask you is about respect, because we're talking about Fortnite players here. I don't think they have any bit of notion about respect, and especially to older people. And like, I'm looking at some of these 16-year-olds, and I was in Rooney's chat last week, and there's these little fucking twats, and they're like 16 and 13. They're like, want a bit of drink, kid? I'm on the drink, kid. You want some drink, kid? Like, I'm like, bro, you obviously, like, if you don't get bullied, you should be getting bullied. Like, that's how fucking bad you are. Like, you're just a gobshite. Where did you learn respect from? And like, yeah, like,
I learned respect from a man, Andrew Lachlan, his name was, who was basically, he was my grandfather, but he's basically my father. He reared me, and he was the most well-respected man in our club. And he had a crazy life, He could have been a professional footballer, but he had that much love for me nanny. He wouldn't leave her. and he couldn't afford to take her at that time. So he said no. And he reared me to be respectful no matter what, of your elders especially. It's definitely a thing that is you're born with, like not born with, sorry, but reared with. It depends who your figure is, and he definitely is the heart and soul of the reason why I respect the older generation and where I get my respect from. I do respect absolutely everyone, but obviously I've had some situations where I don't respect people because they don't respect me. you know a lot of people hate me for no valid reason. They don't actually have a reason. A lot of fucking false whispers go around about me, and people just jump on the bandwagon. But I find it funny because if I was to ever leak my DMs, it'd be a whole different story. You know, so many of these kids, shit talkers from past, are literally in my DMs kissing my arse now.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised, because once you become somewhat not successful, but once you become somewhat stable and you're starting to do work and the work's showing, they want to get a piece of that. Because as you always say, they do anything for clout. And that's it.
It's
Simple
true.
as that.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
no, definitely my respect comes from my granddad and my father, basically.
100%, I'm the exact same. My granddad, I'm in the back of every stream because he's there for a reason. He's there because everything that I do, and my other grandfather as well, everything that I do, I feel like is based off of the knowledge that I got of him, my father, my mom. Like, I don't give enough credit for that because I feel like they shaped me 100% in the way that I am. They give me all the freedom that I want. They give me, like, I have an amazing setup, a lot more than what anyone could dream of having at this stage, especially in Ireland. So
I'll put it this way, like, that's the way I look at it. You're sitting there and you have your setup. Okay, and you're what, 16?
18.
That's correct. 18, sorry, 18. I see you look 16. Take it as a compliment.
Hey. I just shaved me fucking mustache, man. You should see me in November.
There's no point in me shaving. It just goes back tomorrow morning. But so basically the way I look at it is, right, you're 18, right? And you've obviously had to set up a good bit before you were 18. Yeah. When did you, how many years have you had your
this current setup since last July. So last
right,
July.
Perfect. Last July, you're sitting there with that. I was on a console and a fucking Normande telly, streaming, trying to make something of myself, working with orgs on a mobile phone, an Android of all things. Just shows, that right there, what you have is exactly what I'll give my son.
Yeah, and I feel exactly
like what it is.
My mom and dad are the exact same. They're like, because they didn't have like everything in the world when they were growing up. Like, I think my dad had 6 in his family, 6, 7 in his family. My mom had 6, 7 in her family. So they weren't like exactly like well off. They didn't have everything they wanted. Like, my mom was cooking fucking dinner for my grandparents, like, So with this, I'm extremely fortunate to have this situation where I'm able to do a fucking podcast in the first place. So I'm always like, with my granddad, I have him in the background. I'm always trying to like give back to him as much as I can. I'm on the fucking like, I'm out of school like 6 months now because of COVID or whatever. I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to get onto the dole, not for myself, because the main purpose to pay the fucking mortgage. Like, honestly, because we're at the moment now where we actually we can't pay the mortgage. Well, I can't. Well, they can't. Obviously, I'm living with them.
That's a subject I want to bring up actually as well, because I find that to be another thing that annoys the fuck out of me on the internet. The fact that people are criticizing people for going on to the government dole is absolutely horrendous.
You don't understand
how they attack. I did not. It does my head in, because simple as this, right? I'm gonna break it down plain and fucking simple. If there's no jobs, you can't get out. You can't work. Simple. How the fuck else is someone supposed to provide for themselves and their family? Just take that into account. How are they supposed to pay bills? How are they supposed to fucking clothe their children? How are they supposed to put food on the table if they've no income? Zero. How are they supposed to have the lights on? How are you supposed to have hot water? People need to really step back and have a quick fucking think about it before they judge people on social welfare. Because I can guarantee you now, the same people that are talking shit on people on the social welfare, especially people in Ireland, you're going to be in that exact same position. Because not because of your fault of your own, not because you're lazy, because that's the way this fucking country is right now. And it's as simple as that. Put this way, like, I could go down and sign in the morning like that. And I'd have no issue in doing it if I needed to. Because at the end of the day, once my fucking family are looked after, once my son has food in his belly and he's warm, I can give a fuck what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And that's straight up.
I get a lot of that because people think, oh, look at this, like, look at all the stuff he has. He has a fucking camera worth like €500. My mom and dad bought this for me as a present because they wanted me to chase like my dreams. People understand that. They think, oh, you're just a little mammy daddy boy. Look at him. You're like they're buying all your stuff. First of all, for everyone that's watching at home, I spent every penny that I've ever made in my entire life on everything that I have here because it's what I want to do as a career and a job. I was on a PlayStation 4. That's how I started YouTube, uploading from the PlayStation, recording videos from the PlayStation. Wasn't able to edit. I learned how to edit. I was buying knockoff like MacBooks just to edit videos at the time. I just don't understand people's perception of the dole and stuff because I nothing in my bank account. I'm literally in the negatives. I felt bad for because I couldn't sub to Rooney. It was like I'm
the crazy thing is, Jake, is that if people really want to criticize people, maybe they should do some research on numbers, because in Ireland right now, 1.7 million people are on job seekers allowance. 1.7 million. And that's only job seekers allowance. That's not job seekers benefit. It's not carers allowance. It's not one parent family loan. It's not fucking rent allowance. It's not fuel allowance. So they really need to think about that, because I can guarantee you a lot of the shit talkers, one of their parents is claiming welfare. And I can guarantee you that now. So maybe they should take a hard look in the mirror and look at their own family situation before they go out and start criticizing others.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because of the Fortnite players who are like, like 100, if you're getting 150 a week or whatever, just to play Fortnite. And you're like those exact same people, because I have had previous with them, and I'll tell you off stream, come back here, they come back to the YouTube, they come back to the Twitch, Twitter, whatever. Like, oh, you're trying to get the dollar, you? Like, okay. You shut the fuck up, because
no. You see, that's the thing. That's why I build my relationships around people I trust and people that kind of get me in a way, like I've had multiple offers from multiple different people. Obviously, I'm not going to name because it's confidential, but I've had multiple different offers from multiple people, from multiple different teams, from multiple different businesses, so on and so forth. And I've said no multiple times because of one thing: trust. I don't trust them. I have to trust someone to work with them. And that's how it is.
Yeah. I want to talk about 15. Actually, I want to talk about Forgotten, then 15 Kings, then Saints. So I'm gonna start with Forgotten because you were in them first. What happened with Forgotten? For the people who don't know at home, what happened with Forgotten? How it went wrong? And what sort of potential did you see in Forgotten that you're trying to bring into Saints?
Yeah. So, okay, this is going to be long. Forgotten started off as an idea based around two USA owners, which I'm not going to name just in case. I don't want to be brought up on, because I don't know if it's okay for me to say names. I think there's something there wary about that, so I won't say names. But two American owners came to myself at the time and suggested an organization. Now, one of the American owners was all about the money. It was just money. The other one wanted to build something special. So he had the same motive as me. I wanted to change the game, And it got down to a stage where we started up perfect. So we started shipping money in for graphics, get the logo, design, build everything up, website, merch. We sorted it all. And we started recruiting. And as we were recruiting at the start, there was no contracts, which I abide by right now.
I agree with that.
So contracts came along. So I was not one of the owners at the time. I didn't have the same percentages, so I didn't have obviously the automatic say, the majority vote, basically. And the contracts were brought forward, so on and so forth. They were done up by an American lawyer, apparently. I can't confirm that completely. But apparently they were done up by an American lawyer. And the contracts then went to a stage where I think it was 30% the money owner wanted. He wanted 30%. I said 30% is unrealistic. No one's going to sign 30%. You know, I said the max you can give, and I said the wage needs to be high, will be 10%. I said that's the max. I said there's no way 30% is going to go anywhere. I said 10% is the highest you're going to go, and I said that's if you're paying someone fucking hundreds, you know. And it went down to, I was obviously overruled. The contracts were done, and my job, I was as COO, basically Barney's role inside Saints.
What was I was gonna ask that. What was like did you have like a percentage of Forgotten?
A small percentage at the time. I think I had like 10 to 15% starting. Which I don't even think was legit, because I don't think I actually had my contract looked over and it wasn't legit in the end. So I was young and dumb. Like, well, not young, but like basically
in the esports scene. You were very young.
Yeah, in the esports scene, I was only coming in. I didn't know. I should have done a lot more research than I did. But it went on anyway. So the contracts were given to me, and I was given my commands, my list of orders to do, exact same way Barney would from me. So, you know, if I tell Barney to do something, he does it. He doesn't question it. He does it. You know, that's what I done. I just done it. So I started handing out all these contracts. I basically told people that they were legit, because this is what I've been told, you know, they're legit. They were made by American lawyers.
Yeah.
This is it. You know, this is the terms. This is the price, so on and so forth. So that was grand. I shipped out all these contracts. I contacted parents. I spoke with the parents for underage kids to sign the contracts for them. So I must have had like 50, 60 calls with parents. So I was basically starting to be the main face of the org, because I was running and operating and doing everything.
How would that feel for you when that went shits up? Because I don't think I could live with that on my conscience. That you're after, like, obviously you not, but like obviously American guys were after scamming kids in contracts. Yeah. How did that feel for you after it all came out and this shit started?
The only bonus to come out of it was that no money was took. That's the only bonus. So these kids that signed the contracts, a penny never came in. Thank God. You know, no money was made by that organization, but money was going out. I end up getting into a total of $6.5 grand debt that year, which I proved.
And you've showed me that, by the way, off camera.
I proved but I proved it before online with my PayPal as well, because of how much hate and shit I was getting for it. So the money all went out, but no money ever came in. So no kids were ever actually scammed, so to speak. All the kids did benefit from it. A lot of friendships were made inside Forgotten.
Who were some of the guys in Forgotten? Obviously Rooney, but who were some of the main guys in there that you met?
So Rooney, Walla, Vex, Bazzy, all basically the guys that you see best friends today, all formed a friendship around Forgotten. And they loved it though. Even though it turned out to be a scam, they all loved it, because it basically turned them into new people as well. They learned, like, a lot of them have even come to me. The real ones, I call them, the ones who stuck by me, that knew the truth. They all to this day still turn around and say, Jen, thanks. You know, we're here. We're here because of you. You know, even if it was shits up, you know. And the real ones stuck by me, which there was a lot of real ones. There was a lot of fakes and a lot of haters on it, but the real ones stood by me because they knew the truth. And to this day, they still stand by me, you know. And
I think that comes back. I think that comes back to the fact that you're such a respected figure, and I feel like for Rooney and maybe Walla, I'm not too sure about Walla, but like definitely as like a father figure, I see a lot of parallels between you and Rooney as like a father figure and a mentor to him. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, no, I like, a lot of people do ask me, like, and they're always like, oh, it's a bit weird because, like, you know, you say your best mates are basically kids like 16, 17 now. But to me, they don't understand. See, that's the thing. Like, they can say it like, oh, you know, all pedo nonsense, you know, that shit that comes out. But it's not. I'm guiding these kids. I'm helping them in every aspect I can. And if Rooney comes to me with an idea or, you know, help or just to talk, I'm always there. And, you know, and it's because, like, I feel a connection to all these young lads, because I look back at myself at that age And then I think to myself, where did I end up 2 or 3 years after their age? You know, so I don't want them there. I want to give them the best possible advice and guidance I can. You know, obviously at the end of the day, everyone makes their own life choices, but I feel like me having a say can definitely help them in the long run. And I do all I can to make it better for them, you know, and especially if they're pursuing a career in esports, I'm 100% down. It's like when Rooney was approached obviously from Saints, and I thought to myself, I want to grow his Twitch. I want to expand him as a streamer, you know, because that's what he does love doing it, you know. And I thought to myself, how can I really help him out? So that's why I came up with the idea of letting him be the face of Saints almost, you know, the Saints creative, as we call it, you know, anything that's going to happen inside Fortnite creative, Rooney will be the face of that. And he's going to grow from that. People are going to know him from that aspect, you know, and he deserves it because he's a hardworking kid. A lot of people may not see it because a lot of shit happens behind the scenes. But he's a hardworking kid and he's loyal. Like Rooney knows probably more secrets about me than my missus does. You know, he holds them to the core, you know, and especially around the time that earlier on we were speaking when my grandfather / father died, I went into a pit, but he was there for me the whole way. Like he backed me, and he was just so supportive. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Walla. You know, obviously you wouldn't know much, but me and Walla as well. That's why the cunt dropped 70 fucking gifts to him. You know, me and Walla are the same. You know, us three are definitely the strongest bond out of everything. Me, Rooney, and Walla, 100%. We definitely have a friendship that I don't think will ever die. Like even when I'm 50 and they're 30, I reckon we'll still be going for pints, that kind of thing. You know, we have us three definitely have a solid relationship, and I'm really happy about that because the two guys are so genuine. You know, they really are, and they have a heart of gold. The both of them, they do. They're really good chaps, and yeah, that's based around that.
I would say that's the best thing you got, and obviously you got the experience from Forgotten for running Saints, and obviously at your time with 15 Kings you learned a lot. But I feel like the friendship you have with Rooney and Walla, I think, is the best thing to come out of Forgotten in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. Like it definitely was, but the other thing that came from Forgotten that I actually don't look back and hate was the amount of things I did for the kids. You know, I'm not going to mention names, but like one of the kids came to me and said, I can't play this week's cash cup. I said, boy, my mouse broke. So I said, okay. So I just sent them the money, won't say how much. Told them to go get this up-to-date fucking mouse, whatever it was, you know. The same kid started working a few months ago, came into my stream just recently, and donated back the money and thanked me. Said, that's for getting me the mouse.
That's amazing.
That's respect. That for me is respect at the highest level. The fact that kid, after a year and a half, comes back into my stream and donates the money I gave to him for that mouse.
Was that recently? Like this month? Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah. Anyway,
I can say his name. I'll give him full credit. His name is Vex.
Yeah, Vex.
He
dropped 41, I think 41 something.
41 something.
Yeah. What a fucking guy. That's amazing.
And that's pound. So because he's pounds.
Yeah.
So it obviously translated to the euro, the exact price.
But even coming back to this respect thing, obviously, you know, they brought in Lee into Saints as a Discord manager and whatever. He's been one of my friends since the very start of like doing YouTube and streaming back in 2018-19. He was the guy that was there for me the whole way through it. All this shit I talk about, like, he was there. So like, I feel like my friendship with Lee is the exact, it was something similar to you have like with Walla and Rooney.
Yeah.
But come back to respect thing, he is one of the most nicest guys I've ever met on the internet. He comes into Saints, works his fucking arse off. He puts like work aside from uni and stuff, works in the Saints, like the roster stuff last night in the Discord. comes in hardworking. He was watching your stream. He fucking loves you, by the way. Like, he'll probably watch the entire thing. He loves you. He thinks you're one of the nicest guys, most respected guys.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, he was watching your stream, the 24-hour one. He watched the entire thing. He stayed awake.
That's
he watched
nuts.
the entire thing while he's playing COD. He had you on the background, so I just wanted to say that because he'll be watching that. He'll love that. He'll be watching this.
I tell you, I do appreciate it. So shout out to Lee. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate you. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah. It means a lot when someone's actually like, you know, only new to knowing you, to dedicate that much time to me. So I do appreciate every minute you spent watching me.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend. Going back to Forgotten Them, just to finish off this part of the podcast, how did it in the end all come full circle and just completely collapse?
It completely collapsed when I kind of got my wits about myself. I was learning more as I was going along. I was meeting more people inside the esports industry, and I was getting more tip-offs, and one of the contracts got leaked. And at that time, no disrespect to him, I have nothing but gratitude and respect for him as an owner. But it got leaked down to Serenity Glorans.
Yeah.
Glorans was then he released the contract and was basically absolutely torturing Forgotten for it.
Did he have an issue with you or something?
No, he had an issue with the contract. It wasn't me per se.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But because I was the face of the organization, even though I wasn't the actual, you know, the main guys who hid behind the scenes. I took the full weight of it, full brink. And Glorans is obviously a very popular man. So obviously a lot of people jumped on that board. You know, a lot of people seen that and were on top of it. And it got like fucking retweeted like mad. Like it fucking went nuts. That's where I got full attack. Like it was like fucking, you know, Attack of the Clones. They all just came at me. You know what I mean?
I actually remember that at the time. I knew of you before that. This is to give people a time frame. This was mid 2019, I think. April, May, June 2019, I think.
Yeah.
That's when I first started finding your stuff. And I think I remember tweeting you like a few times during that time. Like, I'm on your side, all that stuff. That was like back when I first started watching you anyway. But like, I saw it all unfold. And I still don't know the full story. I'm learning it here with everyone listening. I didn't know. So that's why I'm so interested. But like, I was there at the time. I saw it all unfold. And I just felt so sorry for you because I knew that you weren't the guy scam people. I knew you would not do that. Because like I said with Lee, he got a great first impression. Everyone does, right? I had a great first impression. I knew exactly what you were about just from like, just listening to you talk on stream and your tweets and stuff. So when I saw this whole thing unfold, I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. And I'm very curious to see how it broke down.
It definitely, so that all came about, and a lot of people thought I was just going to dip and accept it. Not a fucking chance. I never accept a fee. Regardless if I'm wrong or right, I never accept a fee. So I took all the shit, took the hate, I retaliated a lot. I got into a lot of arguments with a lot of big people in esports. You know, I stood my ground, and to this day I'm proud I did, because I had to. Like, I couldn't let people actually believe that I was that guy, you know? So I done my fucking investigation. I researched the fuck. I got my lawyer involved. I fucking snooped out every fucking error. I calculated all the money. I done everything. I done absolutely everything. And then I unleashed the fucking beast. And I put it all out on the internet. I put out numbers. I put out fucking DMs. I put out statements. I've done everything. And at the end of it, I do remember I said it. My last tweet after it, that was on an old account, but I literally said, fuck you. Just that was it. Just fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? And then, so the word got back to the two American owners that all the truth came out. One of them, which I'm actually trying to get back on good terms with because he wasn't as involved. And I will say that. It was just one. It was just one fucking cock that literally had no remorse, that attacked the kids in the org, literally like with threats and just ripping them. Just a horrible human being, you know? And he came into my stream then one day after I'd done this was after I'd done the charity stream, right? Which, give me 1 second, because I need to do this.
Big Jen. Look at that ass. Look at that ass. What?
Oh, he came into my stream and then decided to say that the charity I done for Pieta House, he said the money I earned from that, okay, I used that. I scammed them.
I remember that.
You know, I scammed people, yeah. And I put out a tweet with a picture of this, which is a receipt, which I'll show right now. Okay, but look at Pieta House.
If you want to send me a screenshot of that, I'll put up on the...
I can send you a screenshot of it.
I'll put it up.
The amount. My name's up the top here. This is literally a receipt and a copy of exactly what happened, where the money went. And I have a picture on fucking Instagram of me outside Pieta House donating it. You know, how much more proof do you want? You know what I mean?
I love Pieta House, man. You remind me a lot of one of my teachers, whose name was Mr. Kelly. He used to do a lot of stuff, and he's similar age to you. I think he actually did, like, I think he was on one of the Clare hurling teams. Yeah. He was on the Pieta House, mental health. We do like quizzes in school and all this stuff, raising money for them. So that's where I've kind of gotten all my inspiration, we'll say, for doing charity work and doing like for Pieta House and the Irish Cancer Society and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing for me. Like where that came out, and I just literally, you know, shut them down just like that, and he was never to be seen again after it.
Was he the guy who was more like, as you said to start, more business savvy? He wasn't like. Was he that
the money guy?
Yeah.
He was just money. If they're not making me money, I don't want them here. You know, crazy. But it was definitely only, like, the other one wasn't as bad. He kind of just, I think it was because they were friends, IRL. He kind of just sat back and didn't really say much to him. You know, didn't.
How old were these guys?
They're both in their 40s.
Okay, yeah.
Mid 40s, late 40s. Mid for one, late for the other.
I'm getting this like impression of these guys sitting in a boardroom with these fucking, you know, tuxedos.
Yeah.
You know, like that sort of guy.
Yeah. No. They definitely, like, I definitely was made a fucking idiot of. You know, I was definitely that guy. You know, that should have knew. And there were so many people that actually told me that, like, down the line as I was getting deeper and deeper into Forgotten, were warning me. You know, they were like, be careful, you know. And my stupid fucking self didn't listen. And they were right. There was people that called it, and they were right. And I actually, no matter what people may think, I actually thank Sir Andy Lawrence for outing it, because it could have got a lot worse. So I actually thank him for outing it, for doing that, because it gave me a way out. And also gave me a life lesson, a very valuable lesson, that esports isn't to be fucked with. Like, literally, like, there's so many people that have scammed and stuff, and I love watching it. I do. I love watching the people getting out.
Jack Igo, he's coming on next week. He's doing all that shit.
Jack versus. I love people getting out. Did you know why? Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was there at one stage, but I actually wasn't fucking guilty. You know? So, but no, that's why I think it was easier for me. And I thought to myself after all of it, when it all closed down, I literally just abolished all of it. You know, I shut down Forgotten. I made sure everything was paid. It was done. I made sure that if guys were waiting on merch, they still got it, even if they burned it. You know, I don't care. You know, but a lot of guys actually still wear their Forgotten jerseys because they have respect for me. And the fact that I paid fucking £400 or £500 for a shipment of 12 or 13 jerseys. You know?
Did you think Forgotten was more brandable than Saints? Because personally, I think Forgotten, with the logo, you had the USA flag and I think Ireland flag as well.
The Irish flag, yeah.
I think it was more brandable than what Saints is. So if I can give a compliment on that, I think it was. And the jersey, the merch was fantastic. Rooney still wears it sometimes in his stream. Yeah. Very clean looking. So I'm hoping Saints can get there as well, because
definitely that was the all that was myself, and actually help from an artist called Samantha, who done my pickle as well. If nobody's seen my pickle, of it actually has the beard and the Genesis hat.
I'll pop it up.
She drew that, and
Samantha.
She was the same. Yeah,
Samantha W.
No.
Different.
Is it Samantha W? No. Samantha W? No, it's not.
No, it might be someone else. I'm getting mixed up. She's in Chris's stream.
Yeah, but Samantha is what she goes by. And she drew my pickle, my logo that I still use.
Did she
I
do
love
it?
it.
Did she do a little
Absolutely
tracing of your pickle? Did she? Did she do a little
She,
tracing?
she drew it all by hand. She's an absolute amazing artist. And she drew the logo by hand. And exactly to the way I asked. It was crazy. Because if you look at the logo, it actually is an F and a C in the flags for Forgotten Crew. It's crazy. And then 4 GTN came out with the abbreviation basically for our Fortnite guys and all. But it definitely, like, at the end of the day, it was a scam. Yes, correct. But there was really good times in there. The boys loved it. They loved it. I used to, because they weren't being given money and stuff, I used to do every week, there used to be cash cups on. Sometimes you'd have 2 or 3 cash cups a week. And I used to do a little competition between all of them. And I'd give €20 to the guy who got the highest points. He didn't even have to come top fucking 10,000. But if he got the highest points, he got paid. He got a couple of pounds in his pocket. And they loved that because it was like a little competition between them.
Why has he not done the qualifiers and never finished the final? So I don't know what he's on about there. But I think he's on about some sort of tournament.
Oh, yeah. So that was the Forgotten Summer Cup.
Yeah.
So Forgotten Summer Cup was to happen. But obviously, Forgotten shut down before that happened. And people said to me, am I still going to run it and stuff? So I said to myself, will I run it? So I said, yeah, I'll still run it. So we turned it into an Autumn Cup. But I'd done all the qualifiers now, so we already had the full 99 players that were going to be playing in the final. Obviously, I had to be in the lobby for myself to spectate it. So we had the full 99. We set up a Discord and all for it. And only 43 out of the 99 actually joined. So this went by and I couldn't remember all the names because it was scuffed. It was scuffed. We didn't take into calculation who the actual players were. Half the players were unfindable on Twitter. So it ended up being a big scuffed event. So I thought to myself, okay, the cup's probably not going to happen. I just have to cancel it. Plus, it was supposed to be 3-way pay from me and the other 2 owners. Okay. And I thought to myself, should I cough up even more money when I've already committed this much money that's gone to scam? You know? I thought no. So what I did was I took my $300 at the time that I was going to be putting in towards it. And I done Zone Wars. So Zone War, big Zone War events. So we done 3 different Zone War events. We done one for 120.
Yeah.
We done one for 80 and one for 100. And they were all paid out. So a lot of confusion is there, thinking people thought nothing happened with the money. It did. And if you actually go back to like find on Twitter, I don't even remember who the winners were, but they screenshot their winnings and put out on Twitter, and they added me and so on, my old page and so on and so forward. But that was all done with. But for that cup in particular, a lot of people asked me what happened to it, weren't even in it. They're just looking for
attention,
for a kick. Yeah, attention, a kick, clout. So 300, my 300 that was going into that cup was paid out, but it was paid out in different events. And the 43 guys that were involved in that Discord, 80% of them participated in the Zone Wars. So they still got to participate in some sort of event for cash.
And can I just say, right, for the people listening at home, for the time that I've been working with Jen, the time that I've known Jen, I've never seen anyone scam. Anyone get scammed? No one's been scammed. So I want everyone who's listening to this to just stop with that shit. Obviously, there'll be a few people who'll still, look for attention. But you've never scammed anyone, to my knowledge, and I know you haven't.
Nope.
So this whole Forgotten shit, and especially because, and I bring it up because they kind of drag it into Saints. So Saints is going to be this next big scam org, and I'm just waiting for the next Jack Igo video. Saints org, business are brutal. Episode number 12. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's really great.
I actually hope Jack does do a video on Saints. I really do, because I'd actually like his constructive criticism as well. I'd like to hear what he has to say and what he'd want to see better from us as an organization. I know he's going to point out the content because he loves his content. I know he's going to point that out. But don't worry, Jack. It's coming.
What I love about Jack is he will be honest. It doesn't matter who he's talking to. He'll be honest. He'll be as what's the fucking word? As critical.
Critical.
This is bad.
Criticism.
Bad. He will put as much criticism out there. Yeah, that one, the one we're talking about. He will say all that. He doesn't give a fuck. He did one on TT9 last week, and I actually really enjoyed that video. He went into the.
He's willing to criticize. That's what I love about him.
Yeah. He's coming on next week, by the way, just in case, throw some shots. I'm joking, but yeah, but like he's the only guy on the internet, and the reason I want to get him on is because we can actually have good discussion about things we have different opinions on, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm on Twitter and I see something that he said, I'm like, okay, I have a different opinion, but I know that if I reply, I can say a different opinion. He'll give his opinion back, and I think that's what's going to make that a really nice podcast to have on. Jack's a great guy.
Yeah, 100%. That was kind of the point where I was leaning towards on my Twitlonger statement on the incident of the xenophobia, and that was kind of the tweet that did it for me. When I seen Jack saying he was disappointed in me, I was thinking, fuck, I thought, okay, because like me and Jack have had a good relationship, and we've never knocked heads or anything. So when he said he was disappointed in me, not like that, he didn't give any hate. That word there was like, okay, I fucked up, I didn't think it was going to be such a big thing. I didn't think it was going to blow out. I thought it was just some kids trying to get clout, off a clip, because it had me in it. But when I seen that, I was like, okay, no, I definitely need to watch this back again and actually sit there and take it in perspective if I was the other person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I sat there and I watched the clip like 20 times, and I just kept listening to what I said and listening to what I said and listening to what I said. And I thought, hold on, that was bad. It was. I didn't mean it. Obviously, clearly didn't mean it. Heat in a moment, anger in fucking COD. And the part that was clipped out is just me, which doesn't entail the whole story, but I'm not going to get too much back into it. But people always need to remember what was said before he said that,
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, crazy thing, I didn't think anything was coming of it, because next game, the guy sent me an invite. I accepted it, and he was playing with us. So it was, he didn't take it to heart. I did apologize to him after. I said, listen, man, I'm sorry if I said anything to offend you there. I just heated a moment. He was like, oh no, I was just trying to wind you up. It was a bit of crack. And that was it. It was done.
And that's the conversation I was having with Jack. Is like, we've talked about it here in the podcast an hour and a half ago, that you grew up in more of a different generation with, like, the old paddies in the pub, and they just, and I say this very lightly because I do it myself
Irish
as well.
comedy.
Irish comedy is very racist. Yeah. It's because it all stems back from, and you'll probably elaborate, it all came from, like, these guys coming to take our jobs, and they'll take our wives, they'll take our misses, that sort of stuff. It is definitely a thing, and it does have to change. It does, because everyone loves a bit of Irish comedy, but nowadays it's getting to a part where it's not like social joking. It used to be like a joke and stuff, but now it's being took to a new level, if you get what I mean. Yeah.
Like it's no longer a joke. You know what I mean? It's now starting to get to a point where people are actually properly being racist, like full on, and that is unacceptable, completely unacceptable.
I've one of these.
That's crazy thing. When I was like, I have relatives who are black, so
exactly.
For people to say
I'm
racist, it's like, nah, not today, buddy. It's we say dumb shit, but are we really that person? No. Jack did point out that in the heat, when someone's in the heat of anger, that they show them real selves. I don't truly believe that. That's something I don't truly support. I do believe that, yes, it can interpret someone in a way, but a lot of us do dumb shit in anger, that we don't mean, or we say shit we don't mean. Like, when I'm in anger fighting with my girlfriend, I say, I fucking hate you. Do I really hate her? No, I love the fucking girl to death. So you gotta add up that. I'm not trying to defend myself and say I wasn't wrong. I was, and I admitted that. I've apologized for it. But, it doesn't always portray someone what they do at a certain point. You know what I mean?
It's like in a football match. Like, if you go up to the ref and you're like, you're fucking useless, can't do your fucking job. It's the exact same thing. When the blood's boiling, it's just anything comes out. It's not your true self. It's just it's a small part of you that's in there. It's like a self-defense kind of mechanism, Obviously, Saints and 15 Kings started off on the wrong foot, and it evolves. And obviously, I was a part of it last week with the whole CSGO video and the I saw as a joke, and I'll always stand by this. I will never apologize for a joke. If I say something that's a joke, it's meant to be as a joke, and I'll never apologize for that. I don't think if you have to apologize for a joke, you shouldn't have said it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion on it. But, like, obviously, you and 15 Kings have some sort of history because you were obviously in them. Do you want to go over how you joined? How just how all that played out, really?
Yeah. So the crazy thing with a lot of people probably don't know is that I was actually one of the founders of 15 Kings. Um, Myself, Nami, and a few others were actually the founders of 15 Kings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was when Settle finished up, Nami wanted to start a new journey. He had so much passion, so much motivation, so much money. So he wanted to do something new. So that's where 15 Kings were raised. And I loved it. Loved the idea. Loved the fact he wanted to work with me. Honestly, I think if it had went a different way, we'd probably one of the most successful orgs out there, because it's not just one brain, it's two, and it's two guys that are so opinionated, so hardworking, so dedicated to making a change. I really feel like it would have been fucking substantial.
And I think from the inside of Saints as well, and we'll get into this in like a half an hour or whatever, but I think from the inside of Saints, the one thing that we're missing is someone with your brain who has had like similar experience with esports, like who knows how it runs and what needs to be done and all this stuff. Because I'm very new to esports. I'll be the first one to say I was, you asked me to join as a content manager. I was like, okay, that sounds like something I really want to do, but I'm going to be learning on the job. I'm going to make mistakes. And I think that's something the rest of the guys, I think like Lags, Barry, they don't really understand that. Like I'm open to criticism. I'm open to being, told like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. But I need constructive criticism, not like, don't do that,
So you need guidance.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I guide people. I may give out to them at times because they get on me tits, but I still guide them. And it's the same with me in meetings. You've been there. I go off on this if you do shit wrong, or but at the end of it, I tell you I love you, and it's just guidance. It's criticism, but take it on board, learn from it, and get make sure the next time's better.
In 15 Kings, were you COO or were you like a CEO?
When I was first there, I was co-owner with Nami. I left because that was the time my father passed, so I had to take some time off, a lot of time off, to be honest.
When was that, just for people listening at home?
That was in May. Yeah, May
2020.
May 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
So I told him, what the crack was. I left. I wasn't able to do it. I was going through a lot at the time. I was emotionally broken. I couldn't take care of my own fucking kid. I was just, I'm lucky to have such a good fiance, man, because, without her, I don't know where I'd be. That was probably the hardest part of life I've went through. Losing someone that was basically who bred you into the person you are. You have a part of them in you, whether you think it or not, you do. And that definitely was a turning point for me. Took me a while to get past that, but I couldn't game. I didn't want to be in esports. I didn't want to do anything. I just fell into a slump. But I left, and I came after a few months down the line. I decided I want to get back into working now, because that's what I love doing. I love hard work. I love the grind. I love the effort. And I came back to, I talked with Namin, and he needed a COD manager. So I said, perfectly fine. I'm down. I was in love with COD at the time. So I jumped in and started doing the COD stuff. And to be honest, it went sour because of my own stubbornness, to be honest. I'm a stubborn cunt. And I feel like if I'm in a position in a job, I'll do that job. And I don't like to be told how to do it or do it differently.
I'm the exact same. I'm the exact same. Yeah. With the content side of stuff.
To the way I want to do it. And I had a clash of heads. Now we've made up. We're grand now. Me and Daryl had a clash of heads a couple of times. But I let the anger and the stubbornness get the better of me. And I left. And then obviously, me and Mean were still grand at the time. But then I started new journeys. And it kind of escalated into something I shouldn't have, really. When I came into Saints, actually, I actually put out a tweet. I put out a tweet, and I had the money there, and I was ready to get back into esports properly.
I remember.
I asked the question. I asked that question. I said, start my own org or join or come in and invest and co-own another org. And that was at the time Saints was just about to hit plunder.
So that was, for people listening, that was around the 15th of January, I think. 16th of January.
Yeah, 15th, 16th of January. That started plunder. And I had a chat with Taxi, and I told him, listen, I can invest heavily. I basically am bringing everything to the table. I can turn your team into a successful business. And he was happy. He said, let's go, let's do it. So I got on board and I started properly working outside Saints around the 25th, 26th of January. And that's when I started obviously putting money in. And we cleaned up everything. We got rid of everyone inside that was inactive and all. We cleaned out house, full sweep. And I started building from the bottom up. And in the space of a month, this is where we're at now. 28 days of February.
A team that
launched on the 1st.
A team that everybody in the community wants to join. And I'm being serious. I have access to the Twitter account, the amount of people who want to join every single day, like we were saying this like last week, you go on to Twitter account for 5 minutes, you go onto your own account and come back, there's like fucking 50 notifications from people grinding and stuff. It's insane.
It is insane, because the fact of like a lot of people still are kind of not familiar with the whole what is Saints. Saints was a console team. It wasn't registered, so it wasn't a business, it wasn't an organization. It was just a God console team. It really had God console players in it. So now for people that are listening to understand that Saints is now an actual legitimate business and an organization that features in not just Fortnite, but multiple other games and more to come. And that's literally the breakdown. We don't, as everyone knows, for Saints, we don't do contracts. They're non-existent. We do not do NDAs. And there's no percentage cuts. It's literally just gain. It's a gain factor with Saints, which is very different to a lot of orgs. You just gain, and never lose anything. So
that's a question that I have about, because obviously I'm new to esports, I'm new to all this stuff. How do you make money from here? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that if you get players, Fortnite players in, and they're not in a contract, you're giving them money to play the game. And you don't get a percentage of that. How do you make money? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, this has to be a scam. It's so good to be true. It has to be a scam. So how do you make money back from this? And in the long run, I guess.
Right. So I've set up a certain amount for the next 2 years to go into Saints. And in them 2 years, I will gain €0 profit. Unless I hit goals, numbers. I need to hit substantial numbers on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, etc. So I can approach businesses, sponsors, etc. to invest into our team. And if we can get that done and the investment is good, then I will approach Carter Pulse, Dan Pulse, which is the director. I will approach him. I've already, so it's a £500 deposit and £500 then extra to do contracts legitimate, and then pay them a monthly fee to be the agent of Saints. That is my goal. My goal is when we do go down the route of profits and contracts, it will be done with an esports agency that are highly recommended and highly visible.
Yeah. For people at home, by the way, Carter Pulse, basically, what they would do is we would pay them every month, or you would pay them every month. They would go over all the contracts. If anyone has an issue with a contract, they would be the people that sort it. You would go to them, almost like a middleman, but they'd be working very closely with us. So just to explain that for people. But Carter Pulse are very reputable. They're a great bunch. I think, is it SRN? Work with them and a few other teams?
A lot of big orgs have worked with Carter Pulse. A lot. And you can check out the website and you can see the big names. They feature not just orgs, they do players as well, personal players. And they're very highly recommendable. And it was actually recommended to me by none other than Jack Igo, who is the king of fucking finding out scams and contracts.
They love that.
He was the one who put me in touch with them. And I had a chat with Dan in emails, which I screenshotted and put it out on Twitter, that I'm in talks with him. And I told him when the time is right, I will 100% be working with them. And he said he can't wait. So
where does the cash flow come from in Saints. So obviously, you're the main funder of Saints. You own, well, to obviously I won't say it now, but you're looking at getting investors into Saints to obviously help you with finances and stuff like that to make the org go, bigger and stuff.
We can talk about that. So at the end of March, I will be signing a contract with a partner, an investor who will commit to Saints, and he will own 25%. He has already spoke about it with me and has told me that he will never take away my baby, as he calls it, my majority share. He's going to be the guy that sits in the back, be an investor. And when profits come around, he'll just take his profit, but he's going to let me do it the way I want to do it. He respects me completely. I know him a while, and he's definitely going to help. And the funds that he's able to provide, along with myself and along with what Taxi does as well, because Taxi does still help out, we will end up funding enough money into the team to do everything that we need to be successful. People want to know about where my money comes from.
Yeah.
I'm a clever person, a very clever person when it comes to this stuff. I know what to invest in and what not to invest in. I saved my ass off my whole life. I basically grind. If I think I'm running low on cash, I will literally ring up a friend and get a day on a fucking fishing boat just to get $1,000, just to make sure the team keeps going. So the Saints money, but I have got it parked outside in the bank, which Rooney and Waller have seen. They're the only two people that have seen it, and that can verify it.
That's where he stores the dead bodies, by the way, just in case.
They have seen the funding, and they know that I have it there for the 2 years to go. And this is why I do say to people, or why I say to the guys in the team, don't go over budget. Because if you go over budget for 1 month, we lose a month off the 2 year. That means I have to go a fucking day on the boat to cover that month. So yeah, but that's why we stick to our budget, and that's why we only do deals with people we can 100% pay upfront in advance. And that's the other thing, actually. We pay upfront in advance, so there can never be a scam. You come into the team, you get paid, you do your 30 days. You if you want to leave after 30 days, perfectly fine. If you want to stay, you let me know, I send you the next payment. And that's how we go. This strategy that I've put in place, no player, no kid will ever be scammed because they get paid in advance of their work. That's how we do it.
And that's what happened. That's what happened with Jalen's, Trey. These things just happen in esports, and you're the type of guy who will say, if there's a better offer to come, you can go. If you can't match the offer they want, they can go, and they can go off and be successful. No hard feelings. And I love that about Saints, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to join in the first place, is you pay it up front. There's no scams. And I think what that shows as well is you've learned a lot from Forgotten. You've learned a lot from how wrongly they ran Forgotten, and how you and I'm sure you don't want to ever be in that position again where that happened. No. And so you've learned a lot from Forgotten.
As I said, the reason why I pay in advance and upfront is because if at some point down the line, if I can't fund the team no longer, nobody's going to get scammed. I literally turn around, I pay everyone at the start of that month, and then I say, guys, this is the last month at Saints. I can't fund the Saints. I can't fund this anymore. And don't worry before everyone starts panicking. I have 2 years of fucking budget, so you're okay. But I
don't get paid, by the way. I don't get paid, but
you have 2 years of budget, so you're okay. But no, as I said, if I haven't got to where I want to in 2 years, but then it was never to work. 2 years should be enough time to establish ourselves as what we should be, a big org and a respected org. And as I said, first month in, a lot of people are sitting there fucking rubbing their hands together thinking, oh, I can't wait till this falls apart. But keep rubbing, because you're going to be waiting a long time.
Where do you see Saints going in the next, we'll say, obviously 2 years, because you're investing, as of now, 2 years. You've that set, that's in stone. Where do you see the next 2 years going, ideally? And where do you think it could go in the future after that?
Okay, so a lot of people came at me and started hating on me because I said that within this year I'm going to make Saints a top tier org. Okay, now when I mention top tier, I'm not talking fucking phase, I'm not talking energy, I'm not talking fucking optic. I'm all about getting up to the numbers of
EP, TT9. Serenity, all those guys.
Yeah, Serenity, that kind of level. Now, a lot of people say, oh, they're not top tier. But in my opinion, they are, because unless you've got fucking millions, you're not going to be a tier 1 team. It's physically impossible. But with hard work, dedication, and content, good, solid content, and good fucking teamwork, you can get there on a budget, 100%. Because at the end of the day, look at the amount of successful people that started with nothing. Look at Mr. Beast, for instance. Did you ever see his old selves?
Yeah,
yeah,
like he had like a little fucking bed in the background.
Laptop,
yeah,
bed in the background. Look at him now. Don't ever tell me that you cannot be successful without money. Never. And at the end of the day, if I fail and I don't turn things into a big org, I'm never going to be disappointed, because at least I tried. But I will put my countless hours into making sure that it's successful. I will do it. And the reason why I feel like I'll do it more than someone else talking right now is because I've been through the fucking shit. I've took all the slander. I've took the hate. And I'm still here. And I'm still pushing. And I'm still determined to prove that I can do it. Because that's the kind of person I am. I'm here to make a change.
What do you think is the difference between Saints and just, I'll say, Ace of Spades, or Vervana, who are coming back up now? Or actually, before we get into that, what happened with Settle? Because you touched on that a little bit earlier on and you didn't fully go into that. What happened with Settle and how did that break down?
I think Nameen learned a valuable lesson not to merge, because that merge between Settle and Vervana killed the org, in my opinion. And a lot of kids, claim to be owed money from Settle when the merge happened, because Vervana members apparently told the boys in their org, oh, well, you'll all get paid at Settle, which wasn't the case. So it was just false lies.
So who owns Settle, if you don't mind me asking? Was it Nameen?
Nameen owned it, Settle. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Nameen owned the Settle. And actually Settle would have been very, very good. I think the merge killed it. The merge broke it. It did. And I think he learned that lesson. I don't ever see 15 Kings will never merge, because Nameen did learn his lesson from that, in my opinion.
Nameen are not Nameen. 15 Kings are it's a very nice brand. Like, it is extremely nice. Like, it is 15 Kings. It's sleek. The designs are very nice.
That's full credit to Scops Art. Scops Art is an amazing artist. Amazing. Yeah. He does all that stuff. He's amazing. And the motion design, Swerve, he does motion design and he's excellent as well. So they're very good in recruiting good studio team, good artists. And I have full credit for them for that, because it's definitely the soul of everything. And the fact that they got it right, and it's just clean, perfect, crisp. It looks so professional. Full credit.
What do you... If I was to give one bit of criticism to 15 Kings, because not a lot of people know this, but I will say I was close enough back in November to joining them as like a content creator or whatever. And the reason I didn't is because I don't think they have the eye for content like I do, and because obviously I this is my brand, but I love this, right? I love the camera stuff. I love making everything look nice, professional with my tweets and whatever. Like, I love that, and that was the only problem I had with 15 Kings personally, was I didn't think their content side of things is that great. If I was to give constructive criticism, and I feel like, I think this is credit to Saints and to me as well, is I think people from 15 Kings will watch this podcast and they'll be like, okay, this is different. This is very interesting. This is something that not every org can do. I don't know if you'd feel the same about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think based off the content part thing, man, is you definitely have to have the right person in the position. Like, anyone can say, oh, I'm a content manager. I can get content out, but that doesn't just mean I'm a guy who can give the editors Fortnite montages, and push that out. It's about expanding and thinking outside the box and thinking, what can we do that's different? What makes us stand out from other orgs or other teams? And I feel like 15 Kings, it's not their fault. It's just they haven't found the right guy. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. I think if they find the right guy, they have the supplies, they have the artists, they have the cash, they have the backing, they have the support, they have everything. They have the platform there. I just think they need that right guy who can be like, I'm the man that can get it out. they've done some videos that are really good. Like, you know, their setup tour, and they've done multiple other videos. The Christmas video was very good. I was actually in that myself because I was there at the time, and it was brilliant. You were interacting with the community. It was great,
Yeah.
you know. But no, I definitely feel like I do understand though, because they're very like with this big tournament they have coming. Like they have a search and destroy tournament for COD. They have the big Fortnite event with Monster D Face. I think when they get past that, I think Namin has a lot of plans, and he just doesn't talk. He doesn't let anyone know. But I do believe that he has something coming. I really do. I think the content on 50 Kings will rise very quickly. And a lot of people say, oh, they're your main competitor. They're not our main competitor. They're not.
I think we can grow alongside 15 Kings, and we can both be successful.
Exactly.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no competition there. We're two orgs trying to make something out of it. And I said it on my video that I posted out. At the end of the day, everyone can have their opinion. Everyone can say there's beef and all, but there's not. At the end of the day, the only two people who lose out if they goes tits up is me and the mean, and that's it. You know. So, but I just believe that the two of us will rise together. I do believe 15 Kings will rise. It says the Empire has risen. I do think it will. Being honest, I do.
Where do you see 15 Kings in 2 years' time as well? So like we talked about with Saints, we want to get us to Serenity level, EP level. Where do you see 15 Kings going?
I think 15 Kings will definitely reach a substantial level above. I think 15 Kings with the right backing and the right people involved, they could definitely outdo the likes of TT9 now, 100%. 100%.
I would agree.
Can. Yeah, 100%.
I watched Jack's video last week about like TT9 or whatever. Their roster, and we've talked about this a little bit like off camera or whatever, off stream. They put a lot of money into content, and they just throw a lot of money at pro players and stuff like that. And I don't see them getting a return in the next year and a half or two, maybe even 2-3 years. I don't see them making a return in that.
You see, that's the thing. Every org is different. You know, they take different approaches. Some orgs are solely based Fortnite. Some orgs expand, you know, into different games. And I feel like, you know, an organization to thrive and succeed, you definitely need to expand. I did watch Jack's video, and I do agree with a lot of the points he made. I feel like their content isn't there. Like, they have so much potential. They've such a following. And they got their own office and stuff. I feel like they need to do more with that office. You've got an office there. Get all your boys. I know Corona, fair enough. And that's probably maybe a reason they haven't done it yet. Okay. But get into that office. Get the boys set up for a day, a tournament day, and a cash cup or something. Make a video of it. Funny moments, having the crack. Play fucking games together. You know, interact with each other. Just make something happen over it, because to have an office is a big step. That's like having a gaming house, you know?
Yeah.
It's a big step. And obviously every org's dream is to have a gaming house, you know, gaming house with all the boys, you know, set up stuff. Yeah, 100%.
I want that.
I'm 30 years of age and I still fucking want it. You know what I mean? I love it. I love the thoughts of fucking having my own fucking house with all my team, all my members in it. Just pure banter, like, you know.
Just get an extension at the back of your gaff, like, just make a little fucking massive shed.
Just build a big ass conservatory out the back.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, I feel like they can do so much more, 100%. But I don't know. I've losing now. I don't know if it's 100% true, but from what I've heard, whispers, losing Ronity from TT9 is fucking devastating for them. It's devastating for them, in my opinion. They have to hold on to Cora and Peach. They have to.
Yeah.
If they lose them too, I can't see it turning out well. But the fact that they've lost Ronity is fucking massive. I couldn't believe that.
I said it to you, and you were like, "What? How the fuck? What?" Yeah. You were in shock.
I couldn't believe it. And if the rumors is true where he's going, then fucking props, fair props. Because if they did get him, fuck me.
That's insane. Man.
That's insane pull. Like, that's nuts. Like, I thought mine were good. You know, mine are good.
They are good.
But to take someone from a level of TT9, it's definitely talkable.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So linking it with 15 Kings when we were talking about it, isn't that where you met Taylor and all the COD guys?
yeah.
So how did
So
you? Yeah, you can talk about it.
all right. So Taylor was in there as a streamer for 15 King, but I saw something in Taylor. I saw something and I was thinking, this kid's fucking serious player for COD. Like he was something. And same with Dynamic. And I was thinking, nah, these boys need to be playing comp. So I approached the both of them. I said, you boys need to get onto comp. So we began a process, and I basically jumped into games with Taylor, taught him strats, taught him everything, taught him how to, because he like I didn't teach him how to kill. He fucking knew how to do that, but his awareness in the game, his strategies for like obviously the games like S&D, control. You know, you got to be. It's objective, like objective game. He's a good killer, but he didn't know his objectives, terms, and how to play it properly. So I jumped in with him and a couple of the others that we recruited in the end into the team. And we used to do scrim prac every night stuff, and I basically built a relationship with Taylor. I taught him how to build his own branding, basically how to portray himself, you know, be more socially active, get onto this, do that, you know, and just grow up there. And then
How long
when
have
I
you known
left,
Taylor? Like 2 years, three
I know
years?
Taylor since about I came into to 15 Kings. I knew him about 2 days later, 2 or 3 days later. So what's that like? Fucking 5 months, 5 months. I think it is 6 months maybe. I'm not sure on the exact time frame, but it's. I think I'm sub to him for like 4 months, so it's probably like
He's one of
five
the
or six
nicest
months.
guys I've met in the internet. I'm so happy he's insane because I love working
Yeah,
with him. He's funny, and I don't know if you get this as well, but I get some serious Nick Merckx vibes off him. Like
yeah,
I genuinely think he could build something extremely good, and he has so much
he could.
loyalty to you and to us. That's only going to help us, but also with them. My
That
main
was
yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
my main priority with content in Saints is to make sure it's not just a one way system because I was in a team called Noble Society. Bad decision, bad choices. Back in 2019, and I went in and they wanted they just didn't have any. They were just they were a console team. It wasn't anything special. But
Yeah,
my main goal after that is like and this is why it was so like perfect for me getting into Saints as a content manager because I feel like my passion I can help other people see that passion, right? Like there's guys in the team, Clinksy and Missy and Rooney and Studs. These guys all are just like very rough at the moment, and I feel like I can expand them. I can bring them over to YouTube and make sure my main goal is to get Rooney to be like I want to say a bit more like me, like a bit more like energetic all over the place. Yeah,
yeah.
So that's my main goal with a few of them. So for me with content, it's just my main aspirations, and that's why I love working with Saints because you guys like Taylor and just so dedicated to what they do, and the things that go on behind the scenes with Saints is actually insane. Like you have Dynamic who killed Cypher PK, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman all
Yeah,
last week. It was just
yeah,
it was insane, and I see Taylor moving on. If even if it's not with us, I don't see him leaving, but I think even without us or with us, he's gonna have a massive future in streaming and
yeah.
stuff.
I definitely no, but that was the thing. Like a lot of people were confused, thinking that like it literally went like it came down to the point where people says I stole Taylor from 15 Kings.
Yeah,
It wasn't what it was. Taylor, you know what Taylor's like: energetic, positive, happy. When I left 15 Kings, he was sad, depressed, wasn't motivated, didn't care, didn't want to stream, didn't want to do nothing. And him and like 100 people could vouch that because I'd left. And he was devastated that I left, devastated. And he DM'd me and he was like, I don't feel happy here now. I miss you. You're the reason I want to do this. You were the one who's picked me over crowd. You gave me a chance. You drove me to this point, you know. And then I was at Saints, and he DM'd me, and he said he'd left 15 Kings. And I was like, okay. And he said, I left 15 Kings. I don't know how to put my statement down properly, though. I just said I left, and I don't know how to say it. So I helped him. I said, listen, you thank them for your time. You appreciate everything they've done for you, you know, proper professional manner, which they did. They did look after him. And So he did that, and then I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, he spoke with me and asked me did I have a spot in Saints, because he wanted to work under me, and he wanted to be successful under me and alongside me, and grow as me as being the guy he can turn to for anything. And obviously I was going to 100% say yes, because I spotted him and I knew he has so much potential. And that's how it happened. And he came on board. He started off as a streaming manager of the team, but he said he'd rather get back into competitive, and he wanted to really whack out streaming properly himself, and he didn't feel like he had the time to. He loved helping the boys, but he didn't feel like he had that time because he's trying to grow himself as well. And I said, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. So we gave him the new role to be a streamer and a coupler.
Yeah,
And
and
just driving at it.
Didn't he get like a 45 kill game in Warzone? Like he's
40,
he's not. We're not just saying this. He's extremely good at the game, and he spends so much time streaming as well. It's unreal. Doesn't he wake up at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning?
He wakes up 8 or 9 in the morning, turns on stream for about 11, 12, and he streams till 2, 3 next week. He does 12 to 14, maybe 15-hour streams a day.
Insane.
It's insane. He is so dedicated and loyal. I just love working. I really do. He's a privilege to work with.
Why did you start streaming then as well? Because you started streaming from the console, obviously, and you're very creative minded as well. You have what a lot of people don't know about you is, I think you said a little bit earlier, like you go to sleep and you're thinking about like, streamers and stuff like that. You're the exact same with content. You see that, you see the ideas that are going to get really big. So where did you start? How did you start streaming, and why did you start streaming?
I started streaming based off a lot of people saying to me, you have such a good personality, you're such a good crack, you need to get that out on the internet. And I thought to myself, I'm not really a fucking guy to, do YouTube videos. And, I didn't feel that vibe. And they said, why not try stream? It's like, okay, maybe we will. And I sat on it for a while. And then next thing you know, I'm out and I'm buying a PlayStation camera, and I'm fucking, I'm fucking buying everything I need, so we set it all up, and we started, and from the get-go it was just fucking insane. I had so much support from the start. But I think the main reason I do streaming is I love talking. Like I fucking love talking, and I like interacting with other people. I like to meet new people to find out what's their hobbies, what's their dreams, what's their passions. Can I help this guy? And I always had the thing where, like, I've always said I didn't want any money on stream. I don't donate, don't do this, don't do that. And they fucking do it either way. Like, I can't stop them. But it's just it's nuts, because I don't expect nothing back for the time I do put in. Like, I just love doing it. I love interacting with community so much. Like, and it's just so much fun, And I always had that side of me, that like that gamer vibe, ever since, like, I was a chap, what I mean? I loved it, and it just expanded, and then I got to the point where I was sitting there, before I actually gave up on the console, I'm sitting there with 50 to 60 average viewers, close to partner. And I kind of kicked myself in the ass for that, because I think if I hadn't have stopped, I probably would have got it. But I stopped. I was averaging 50, 60 every stream. It was nuts. And I stopped for like 6 months because I got fucked up with console, man. I just felt I had so much more to give, and so much more I could do as a streamer. And it just wasn't working on console. So obviously then I got the PC. I knew I was moving house. So we moved house. I got my own stream room. I made sure it was a 4-bed so I could have my own stream room. I set the cunt up, still not fully finished, but we're getting there. And set up my own stream room, but not just a stream room. It's like my office now. So, it's where I do all my work, and I love it. I love every second of it. Because at the end of the day, like, if I want to get a job online, I can do it from home, and I definitely have so many aspects in business to approach different sectors. And every day, people don't know this about me, but every day I may be sitting at Discover Tube. I could be looking up new business plans. I could be actually doing fucking basically homework, and I'm learning. And that's what I'm doing. I'm learning everything. I'm reading fucking biographies about esports. I'm looking into the bigger guys who've made it, the fucking FaZe Banks and shit, all them kind of guys. I'm literally looking from the perch up, and it's all about learning for me.
You were so for people who don't know, like when you're in a meeting with us in Saints, or like if you're just talking to us in general, we always just hear a little microphone, the little clicky from the keyboard, like Jen the banker, I call him, just doing the little clicky. So you're extremely hardworking. But my next question was, what was your inspiration for streaming? Because obviously you're quite good friends with Chris, the Gara show now, as he used to be absolute filth. What was your like main inspiration for streaming? Who was the one person or the group of people who were like, okay, Jaden, go and fucking do that right now?
The main guys for me, Nick Marks was one. Nick is amazing. Like, there's no, that guy is amazing. Like he is. If you want to be a streamer, that's who you got to live up to. Like that's the expectations. He is. Chap sits there and talks about bears fighting fucking gorillas, and he has 30 to 40k people in his chat. Like, that man could literally sit there and play Doodle on a switchboard, and he'd still get the viewers. They love him, and he's so nice. He's so genuine. He's so helpful. Community is built is insane. They do so much for everyone. Like, and he raised the little guys as well. Like, he looks after the little guys because he's that kind of guy who knows where he came from. He started at the bottom and he knows that, and he knows, and he turns around and he says, listen, we could end up back there the fucking morrow, so we got to appreciate what we have now, and he's just so loyal. Like, if there was one person, if I ever did make it in esports and someone said to me, you get to beat one person in the whole of esports industry, who you want to meet, I'm fucking picking Nick 100%, because I just think he'd be a viber. Like, a viber. Yeah, I think, like, I'd love to. I definitely would love to meet him someday. Like, 100%. That's my fucking idol, celeb wise. Nick Marks.
For me, everyone who watches my stuff knows Nick Marks is one of the main guys. For me, it's always been Jacksepticeye for YouTube and stuff. I get a lot of my inspiration from him. But once I started streaming, I started watching a lot more Twitch, and because obviously I streamed on YouTube for like 2 years before I went over to Twitch. I was doing like customs and all that shit, doing really well. But yeah, Nick Marks and then like Joe Rogan, I would say they're like the three people for me that I look up to the most. What Nick Marks is able to do with the community he has, like I think he gave away 200k for Christmas, just giving back every deal. And this is something that I bring with me as well. Every single deal that I do from now on with content, where it's a brand deal or anything like that, a section of that, like 5-10% of that, is going towards giveaways for the community and for the people who watch and support the content. I think it's so important.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing. Obviously, I haven't got the money like Nick Marks does to give away, but like, that's why I like doing on my stream when the other night, like when we were giving away the keyboard for the 3,000 followers of Saints, and I thought to myself, you know what, everyone's in here, nobody in here won it, because Izzy wasn't there at the time. I said, fuck it, like, I'm just going to give away some cash, like, and we started giving away, and I gave away the tenner, and then people were like, oh, go again. And I was like, fuck it, let's go, like, and I always like to give back as much as I can, and that's the big thing about me. Like, that's the thing about why I have that big fucking prize on the stream, because I want my most loyal viewer to get something credited for all this time, which is the Alienware monitor. Like, and I'm actually excited. Now, obviously, it'll be a while, but I'm excited to see who pushes that button. I really am, because that will be the person that has literally dedicated their fucking 2 years, whatever it is, to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it'll probably be fucking Lee, bro. It'll probably be Lee. I'm not even joking. The guy watches whenever you're live, he's on the background. He has this thing called BTTV that auto claims channel points. So he'll be there, bro. Trust
me. He's claiming all them points. Love that.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely streamer for me is definitely, it's kind of my time off, so to speak, from work. That's what it is. Even though I'm working while I'm streaming, it's kind of my time off. It's my time just to relax, kick back, have a few games, chat, fucking vibe out, do my thing, and just have fun and enjoy it. Like, enjoy life, because we don't know when your time's up, basically. So I'm just enjoying everything right now, man. I'm probably at the happiest point in my life, having my family around me, and then having a new baby coming, and having the team, and everything's going well, and I'm financially stable, and I'm really happy. Right now, I'm probably at the best point of my life.
How important is it for you to have a fiance and soon to be wife who looks after you and like encourages you to do what you want to do? How, like, she must be extremely influential in everything that you do in esports and stuff.
I've probably like there's one thing that like only a few people have known. But I'm willing to put it out because at the end of the day, everyone needs to know who I am. I probably wouldn't be alive only for her. She saved my life, literally. She is unbelievable. Like there's no words that can I can never thank you is never going to be enough for what she's done for me. Like, and she supports me in everything I do. Everything I do. From my shitty rap career to fucking now, you know, she backs me the whole way. If she knows if I have an idea or I have an idea or a dream or something that I believe I can do, she supports that 100%. And yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy.
When did you meet her, and how long have you guys been together?
I met her in August 2010, 23rd of August 2010. So we're together over 10 years, and it's definitely like it's been bumpy. We've had our ups and downs, trust every relationship does, but we stuck through it all together. Like we've been through the roughs, and we're still here. Like it's amazing. But yeah, that no, there's 100%. I'm going to be buried beside her in when my time comes. You know, it is what it is. Like it's never going to end. Me and her, like it's just true love, 100%. And the fact that she gave me a little boy and now another one on the way, like I can't thank her enough. Like without like I always said like male dominance is a big thing, and males run the world apparently, you know, like, but I don't believe it. Like at the end of the day, none of us are here without a female. And that's one thing I do stand by is that I respect every female, regardless if I take the piss messing LV girls and all, just buzzing, you know, that's all jokes. So, but no, all women are amazing, absolutely amazing.
And it all comes back to that respect thing as well. You give respect, get respect. If you're, and there's nothing that annoys me more, and I'm being completely serious, than people who discredit women, because like there's nothing without them. Because even my mom, you know, when I was going to school, up at the crack of dawn every single morning, even if she didn't have work herself, would be like, you know, get the fuck up. What are you doing? You know, she even pinned me up to a fucking wall once when I took some money out of her purse to go get fucking sweets or whatever. Having the backbone, and obviously I don't have this yet with like a girlfriend or fiance or whatever, but having that backbone, I would feel like it's extremely important. It's like you were mentioning your rap career. I just want to come back to that a second, because obviously a video circled the internet by a guy. I won't say his name, but I know it off by heart because he's a little fucking scumbag. But he put up a video trying to discredit you a little bit with like you put up the two fingers like that, and you want to go over that in your little rap career?
Yeah, no, just listen. I at the end of the day, I've actually nothing to hide on that aspect of it. Like I put out on YouTube myself, and you know, at the end of the day, you can watch it as much as you want. Actually, I don't want just watching it because all the revenue I don't get because I can't even get logged into the basket thing. You know what I mean? I can't remember the password, the email or nothing. So, you know, if I ever does go mad and viral, I'm fucked because I don't get the money. But but no, basically what it was as I said before, around that time, before just as I was meeting Nicole or just before, that's when it was kind of like where I started off. And obviously my life story, you know, I was close to suicide several times, and that was my way out. I found a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote down everything on pages, and I felt like writing it down wasn't enough. I gotta hear it for myself. Like I gotta hear me saying it, you know. So I turned it into music, and can't rap for shit. I know that, but it made me feel better, and it made me get away from depression and sadness, hurt, pain, and gave me a new outlook. It was basically me without going to a counselor. It was basically me being my own counselor, telling myself this is what you've done, this is what you've did, you know, this is happening. You got to change this. All my lyrics that you hear are real in some sort of form. It may not be exactly what it is, but it comprehends in a relative term to what I'm saying. So everything there, yes, it's fucking not great music. I can't sing, you know. But the lyrics are true, and no matter what people can say, like I don't mind. Like, you know, I wouldn't have put it out if I wasn't ready for constructive criticism. You know what I mean? Obviously, I was ready for it. But that was my way out of severe and order depression. and saved my life. So I still look back at them videos and smile and think to myself, you did it, baby. You know.
That's
So,
amazing. But there's a lot of people as well in the community like that you've helped with, their depression and their really low lows.
yeah.
There was a guy recently, and I obviously I won't name names, but I just wanted to put it out there that you from what I was told, he was very close to killing himself, and
He was.
you brought him back, and
I brought him back in.
that's amazing. And obviously this is not on the same level, but I was there as well a little bit back in December and January, because obviously I did a Leaving Cert last year and I didn't even get to sit a Leaving Cert, so I was just given like grades basically, like what they thought I was going to get, because we were finished like in March during the COVID and the pandemic, and then I had to come back after not doing any studying for like 6 months, and then I had to go and sit my Leaving Cert again in November, so I had to do 2 or 3 subjects in November, resit that again. So going through that was extremely hard. And then I was kind of like, my YouTube stuff was doing really well back in that time, and it's why 15 Kings were interested and stuff like that. So I was doing really well back in September, October, and then it got into this stage in November where I was just like doing the exams, and then when I was finished the exams, I came back and my channel was just like, there's no one there, Jen. There's no one there, bro. I swear to God. And I just felt completely fucking bereft of everything that I had done for the last like 2 years, because I put in so much hours, like streaming, so hours and hours of my life on the internet, and I love it, by the way. There's no getting away from that. And it's only recently, since I started doing the stuff with Saints, only recently when I started doing that and started talking to you guys, and that got me back on track, and I feel like my channel's back on the right way again. And so I just wanted to say thank you to you and all the Saints guys for getting me through that, honestly, because that I was at the lowest low that I've ever been in my life, and I know it's not comparable to what other people are going through. And like right now we're still,
but we definitely we all have, it doesn't, like, there's no right or wrong way with depression or forms of not feeling yourself, there's so many different ways, and that's what people need to understand. Like, I mean, the happiest cunt in the room could be the saddest cunt in the room, and that's a proven fact. Like, I've lost so many people in my life to suicide. It's not even funny. Like, a lot. And if we were going back into the subject of me saving that kid, he is one of 17 kids that I have helped, and that's why I'm so involved as well with PA the House. On a personal level, my best friend, one of my IRL best friends, is actually involved in Talk to Tom, and he does all that stuff as well. So me and him, I definitely, when Corona's not a thing, I want to get him on the stream, because he's a big inspiration as well, to everything to do with that section. But yeah, no, I definitely, that's why I started up the mental health page on Twitter. Now, I haven't got the full terms of it and all, because like there's a lot of actually laws and all to deal with minors, so I have to look into that. Like, I can help them somewhat on Twitter through DMs, but just in case it goes a step too far, I need to make sure that I'm doing the right steps and doing it in a legal way. So I'm looking into that, and I'm trying to get support and help of other people, and that's obviously Corona stopped me from doing that, because my IRL friends be great with that. If I give them the info on what I'm trying to do, they'd be 100% in. So obviously I'm definitely going to that will be a big thing. I just started up now because I want anyone that's listening to this podcast, or anyone that knows someone, not to be afraid to text that page, because I will answer and I will help as best as I can. And just no matter what you're going through, remember, at the end of the day, a new day comes, and it can be better. One bad day can always turn into another good day. So just keep your chins up and focus on the positives, and don't always just weigh your life down on negatives and bad vibes. And if you're having a tough time, or any shit's happening that you feel like you can't come to anyone, you can trust me, and I can guarantee you now, I will do everything in my power. If I have to even drive the fucking car to where you are, I will do everything in my power to help you.
That's amazing. I'll leave a link down below to the Twitter page for anyone who's wondering, who hasn't already followed it, because it is a great page. It's a worthy cause. Esports mental health is extremely important, because nobody talks about it. It's all like, obviously there's like this whole issue with social media, and people getting depressed off of social media and all this stuff, and the numbers are up, obviously, but like esports again is just another one. You know, it's just another avenue that goes. You go down that, and there's just so many more people. So yeah, I'll leave a link down to that in the description below. Last couple of questions I have is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Myself in 5 years' time. It's a good question. I want to be successful in esports. That's one. What else do I want to do? You see, usually I could say I want to buy a house, and but I'm already there. Basically just be happy. That's all I can answer. Basically just be happy. My family to be happy. My team to be happy and successful. And my loved ones to be well and kept safe. That's all I ask for. I don't ask for a whole lot. All I want to make sure is that anyone close to me, or anyone that helps me or works with me, or any connections, to keep your chin up and be successful and stay positive.
One thing people should know about you as well is you're probably the most selfless person I've ever met, and I'm being completely honest. You genuinely care about other people more than yourself. I think it's a great asset to have in a person, and especially like a leader, like an esports org. Like set by example. I come back to CBG in the back. Lead by example, captain on the pitch, off the pitch, lead by example, and that's exactly what you are. I just wanted to talk about your tattoos, because I know you have a lot of tattoos. Show what is the best tattoo you have, and if it's on your cock, you can't show it obviously. But
no. Okay, so all my tattoos have meaning, every single one of them. So I have my two sisters, Emer, and then on this side I have Shauna. Shauna and Emer are my two sisters, and the reason they're on my neck is because you have two lungs, and without your two lungs, you can't fucking live. You gotta eat in one, you gotta breathe here. So these two represent me living, basically. That's what that is. On this arm was a scroll for my son, which I wrote myself. This is a poem I wrote my actual self, and it says, "My son is my life, my son is my soul. My life has a new chapter, protecting him is my goal." And that is literally wrote by me and printed on my fucking skin.
That's so cool.
And then obviously you see the lion head, and there's a reason behind this. My young lad, when he was growing up, like when he was only a baby, like a few years old, he loved the Lion King so fucking much, right?
Mufasa.
Yeah. So he always used to run around the house pretending he was Simba. And his mammy, Nicole, asked him one day, "Well, if you're Simba, who's daddy?" Or he goes, "Daddy's Mufasa." And and it was brilliant. And then he used to, for a while, instead of calling me daddy, he called me Mufasa. It was hilarious. So I ended up getting the lion's head of Mufasa on my arm, and then it wraps around into his date of birth, and then the clouds and angels around it. And then obviously it goes down into it where you have Tyler here with an angel here protecting him, down with more clouds into roses, because of the representation of obviously Liverpool. So you have the English roses, and then you've got light, and then you've got the "You'll never walk alone," the liver bird, and then "You never walk alone" printed here. So it's everything I love right here on this arm.
Have you ever gotten
the only reason Nicole's name's not on it is because I'll wait till we're married and then I'll print it. But that's why that's why I've left a few. You can see a few spaces, so it will be. I've other tattoos, but we won't reveal.
What's Nicole's background? Because I think you said that isn't her parents from somewhere in Europe? I can't remember where exactly.
Germany.
Yeah.
Her father and her grandparents are her Omi. Is basically grandmother, German grandmother, German related background, and she was born and reared obviously from Germany, but then born and reared in Dublin. Her father was a jeweler in Dublin, owned multiple jewelers, and she moved around a lot with her mom. She's lived in Portugal and everything, so she's traveled a lot. But I met Nicole in Wicklow town, on a night out, believe it or not. And there's a funny story to it. I actually ended up, at the time I was out with my cousins in Wicklow. I ran into Nicole's sister at the time. I ended up having great crack with her all night. We were all drinking all good crack, and she ended up getting locked drunk. So she was so pissed she didn't know where she was going. So I had to walk her from the top of Wicklow to the bottom of Wicklow. And Nicole pulls up to pick up her sister, and her sister gets into the car and she drives on, and the girl that walked, Nicole's sister, thanked me next day, like for walking around, and she told me Nicole was asking who you were. She thinks you're fit. I'm like, all right, so you know, I had a look and I was like, all right, so you know, but so we ended up texting and talking. Then we met up once or twice, and that was it. It just sprung into this. So
That's amazing. What's like
yeah, it's crazy.
what's the worst experience you've ever had on night out? The very worst
experience. Worst experience on night was probably, it was a night actually out in Wicklow where Nicole's sister got into an argument with another girl, and that girl's fella went for Nicole's sister. And of course, me scutter drunk thinking I'm fucking Rocky Balboa, goes over the fucking table after you, man. And you know, started getting in the big scrap in the fucking bar, and the next thing I have 20 lads on top of me, and I'm just swinging like a fucking Jack Russell, fucking, you know, nuts. And the funny thing is, I get thrown out. You know, it's like great crack, please, great crack. But
that's amazing.
That was probably one of the worst nights out. Rather that or the night I woke up in the back of a church. I don't remember much, but I woke up in the back of a church. I woke up in the back of a church in Arklow one night. It was like 6 a.m. I woke up and I was at the back of a church, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Hadn't got a clue what the fuck was going on. Maybe went home, never asked any questions, just hoped I wasn't touched by a priest.
Or worse, a fucking nun, you know? To get the ruler up the arse looking like it's a fucking dildo.
Yeah, it was definitely a night. I don't even remember how I got there, but it must have been a good night.
What were you like in school? I feel like I've actually said this to everyone who's come on so far. Like, what were you like in school? And what was the funniest story you've ever had in school?
I was a little cunt in school.
I bet you were.
A little cunt. I actually got I got expelled from school. Just after the junior year, I got expelled, and I was the kid who pulled all the fucking pranks. I was a bastard. I won't lie. I was a little cunt. And the one that got me expelled is probably one of the funniest stories. And her name was Miss Lee. I'll never forget her.
Miss Lee. Was she Chinese?
No. She was Irish. But she hated me. She hated everything about me. She said I was a cocky, little arrogant prick. And oh man, she hated me. I'm surprised she didn't hit me. But one day I was sitting in the back of the class, and she made a smart gesture at me and towards my mother, basically saying that, because like obviously my mother was gone then, like, you know, obviously based around that time. And she was like basically saying bad parent, and that's why you're a little bastard. So I said, all right, she thinks she's funny. So I decided in the middle of the class, she was doing art, by the way. I decided to trim my pubes, put them in a piece of paper, and leave it on her desk with her name on it. No word of a lie. And inside it are all, fuck you. So she opens up, the pubes fall all over, and it says, fuck you. And I swear to God, and the whole fucking, all the boys in class pissed their shit laughing. Me at like 15, laughing my bollocks off. And she knew exactly what it was. Like, she just knew. She knew.
Were they ginger as well? Were they?
No, little bit brownish. But yeah, I think that was the last straw, because like before that, yeah, that was the last straw. But before that, like my principal at the time, he swung for me, and I threw a chair at him, and it went out the window. So I got suspended for that. I done a lot of shit. I locked a religion teacher in this closet when he went in to get the telly. I robbed my mobile phone got took off me by the vice principal. He locked it in his drawer. I snuck in during break and robbed it back out of his drawer, along with a packet of fucking pig heads, the jellies, and 2 nice pens. Yeah, so you could say my time in school was pretty mad, but I never liked school. I was never a school kind of guy. So the minute I left school, my granddad, which my father figure, put me straight into work. Yeah. And that's how I learned the plaster trade, learned how to plaster and, you know, labor and stuff. So
I feel like everyone who's creative or have a creative instinct will never do well in school. It's just complete opposites. It's like, it's just never going to work. What was like, what were like your jobs before, I suppose, getting into like all the org stuff, really? So like from 20 to like 28.
I've had a lot of work, a lot of different jobs. I basically plastered and labored for fucking years. of years. I've done landscaping, I've done fishing, I've done bar work, I got into stock trading. I've literally done nearly everything. Like I've worked in retail, I worked in fucking, I packed fucking shelves and boxes or out the back of fucking Tesco on the trucks. I've done everything. I've grafted my whole entire life. Like I've literally, I've never not worked. I've always been flat out. And then I went through a period, obviously, where I wasn't working, but I was saving. It's just been a long road, and I've just say, yeah, it's been up and downs, but like parts of times, yeah, as well. I've been out of work where I would have before, obviously, where I get to now, down years back, I used to have to go on the dole. You know what I mean? Sign on for a few weeks until I found another job just to maintain, because I never had like like I was on the streets at 16. You know what I mean? So I always had to provide for myself. So it's literally always been like in between everything. You know what I mean? If a job didn't work out, or they couldn't give me enough hours, I'd go straight to the next one, be like, okay, what can I do now? And I worked on the fucking a golf course for a while, fucking raking leaves. I've done everything.
Well, so my last question to end off the podcast is, if how do I say this? If you're, what do you think your grandfather or your father would say to you now, after the last like year and a half? What do you think they would say to you, and what sort of relationship, or not relationship, but like what sort of like interaction would that be, if you could kind of talk once, like again,
There was one thing he always used to say to me, and he was that kind of man. He never say I love you, right? His way of saying I love you to me was, I kind of like you. And I literally think if we ever have a conversation again, when we do one day, when I pass on, he'd be like, I kind of like you. And he definitely, he'll be proud of me, because the fact of I support my kid, soon to be kids, and my fiance, and that and he was a big family man. So
yeah,
he never judged me for anything I did. Even when I got in trouble in prison, he stood by me. He knew I was always going to be the good guy. I always looked out for other people. He had that sense about me. Like, he knew I always was more. What you just said was crazy, actually, when you said I look after people more than I do myself, because that's what he used to always tell me. You always look after me. Like, if I had £10 in my pocket and someone needed it and they'd leave me broke, I'd give that chap that £10. You know what I mean? And that's the way it was for me. And I've always been like that ever since I was a kid. There's so many stories like that where I've literally went to the shop to get a lot of sweets for myself when I was a kid, and I'd come back and I'd have one sweet for myself, and I'd give the whole road the rest of them. I was just that kind of guy, and as long as other people are happy, I was happy. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as other people are smiling, I'm smiling. I love that. I love when other people are happy, and because it makes me happy, especially if it was me that made them happy at that time. So yeah.
That's probably gonna wrap it up, Jen. That was epic, the best we've done so far. Like, that's the standout one. That was amazing. That's the longest one as well. Nearly 3 hours. Like, I didn't even know it's up in 3 hours.
It's nuts.
That's mad, bro. It's been fucking great to have you on. I definitely want to get you on at some stage again. Maybe when Saints is where it's gonna be in 2 years' time.
More out there. Yeah.
Hope the main goal for this podcast was to make sure people knew that you weren't the scammer or the scam artist people thought you were, to clear your name of all that stuff, and to make sure everyone actually knows who you are and the guy behind Saints and where it's going forward. And hopefully that will help everyone's perception of that. Hopefully stop all the trolling. Of course, obviously it's going to still happen with some people. Yeah. But to kind of stop that.
I said it to you from the start. Like, I'll be as honest as I can about everything. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hide anything. I've said shit on this podcast now that no one has ever known. I've literally gave it all out. So, people can judge good or bad. It's their choice. So, but no, I'm delighted you had me, man. Appreciate you.
Is there any last thing you want to say to anyone watching?
Anyone watching? If you're not following Saints.org, follow them now. Thank you.
All right, bro. I'll get you off. I have to come down. Yeah. We have a meeting there in like fucking 15 minutes, so we'll see how it goes. I'll talk to you then, bro.
I'm gonna take a quick piss. I'll talk to you then. All right.
All right, bro. Cheers for coming on, man.
All right. Cheers, bro. Appreciate you.
Bye
bye.
Right. Well, that was Mr. Irish Genesis, good old Philly McLaughlin. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. If you're listening to the audio version on Spotify or iTunes, make sure to let us know down in the comments below. I want to know if people are using that. So the podcast is obviously sponsored by Saints Org, the reason this is happening. So without David, it wouldn't be happening. So if you want to go over and follow Saints Org on Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff, would really appreciate it. And yeah, 3 hours nearly worth of podcast, lads. If you still have a negative perception of Genesis, then you just don't like, you don't have a brain. You're not just switched on, because Jen is literally the nicest guy I've ever met, and I've been doing this whole YouTube streaming stuff for like 4 or 5 years now. He's the nicest guy I've met, and I genuinely, and I'm being honest, he's the only person I've ever actually looked up to. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, normally when you say like you look up to someone, you look up to, like, Nick Merckx or Jacksepticeye. For me personally, Genesis is going right up there as well, and I'm being completely dead straight. 100%. Jen is up there with Nick Merckx, Jacksepticeye, Joe Rogan, True Jory, those guys who really helped me, get off my feet. And I think this is the start of a brand new chapter for me, for Jen, for his family, for everybody involved with Saints, because the only way is up. And as he said in the podcast, if it doesn't work out, at least he fucking tried. So hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers, lads.